Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here. And Superman 2025 is on its way this year.
Yes, it is.
And Frank, it's time for us to get back into the Superman reviews. We've already done Christopher Reeve's original film.
Knock that off.
And we already did Superman Returns. So
Jump
today
again.
we're talking about Superman 2. And we're going to ask the question, is the Richard Donner cut really that much better? Let's find out today on Hack the Movies.
Tapes, we're talking about tapes.
Hey everyone, Tony from the future here. We recorded this episode a while back, like a month or two ago, before Gene Hackman died, which we're all very sad about. But yeah, so I just wanted to put a disclaimer here because, we talk about him throughout the episode and people might have got confused why we don't mention his recent death. It's because it did not happen at the time of the recording, but we're all sad about it. He was a great actor and he will be missed. All right, on with the show. One thing I like about the old Superman movies is how he's able to communicate with his long-lost father. There's so many people I would like to talk to that I'll never be able to interact with. If only there was a way to simulate having a conversation with a famous person or character. Oh, wait. There is. Hollybuzz. It has over 10 million downloads worldwide and over 20 million characters to choose from. You can ask Clark Kent about his secret identity.
Clark seems caught off guard by the question, and he hesitates for a moment. That's Superman. Why would you think that? He chuckles nervously.
Or ask Billie Eilish if you're a bad guy.
Why do you ask?
And most importantly, you could talk to Tony from Hack the Movies. That's right, I made myself on there. Let's tell me how much of a fan I am of myself.
You better be. I'm glad I finally got someone who knows my greatness. What's your name?
Spot on. You too can have fun conversations like this when you download the Hollybuzz app using the link in my description or pinned comment. And make sure to use my promo code HACK33 to unlock premium features. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to continue complimenting myself. Hello, Frank.
Tony.
What's up? Is this our first review of the year?
Yes, first review of the year.
Wow.
Thanks for having me.
I guess not counting. No, wait, not
Godfather
counting
was
Creature
this-
Commandos. That was,
yeah,
Creature
yeah.
Commandos. Go back and watch Creature
Yep,
Commandos.
Where my volume finally worked on my computer, and
Yes.
I did not crash.
And it did not crash. We finally got it right.
Figuring
We did
this
a
out.
live stream that was successful.
Killing it.
Yeah, Superman 2. I don't know if you know this, but you can see the film now, according to this old Superboy comic I found in my collection.
If I bought that yesterday, then I'd be pretty pumped. I'd be like, oh shit, it's out.
Like, oh, Superman 2's out?
Which cut though?
Yeah, it doesn't say which cut.
I could watch 5 versions.
And look, Superboy issue, does it say the number of the issue anywhere here? The
Bottom
New
right.
Adventure of Superboy. Is it really not numbered? What the hell?
No, bottom right corner.
Bottom right? The bottom right lets you know that, 22.
Oh, bottom.
But
top right.
A New Adventures of Superboy number 22
Check it out.
comes with a bonus story of Krypto the Superdog,
Nice.
who will be in
About to get a lot
Superman
of crypto.
2025, which is no longer called Superman Legacy.
Yeah, it's just Superman now, right?
Yes, it's just Superman.
Decisions were made.
But yes, Richard Donner. We
Yes.
talked about his original film, which you don't like that much, but I love.
I didn't not like it. I just, it's
It's a little dated.
It's a movie of the times.
Yes, but we agreed. It's, as the title says, it's one of the most influential superhero films. Superhero films are still taking notes from it to this day.
Agreed. It was the first of its kind, and I believed a man could fly.
Yes, and even to this day, they are completely reshooting superhero films like Captain America: Brave New World,
Yeah, well,
where they completely changed the leader's design, but not in time for all the toys and Funko Pops to come out with the original design.
by the time this drops, I'll have seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no rush.
Unfortunately. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. But this also was the beginning of changing of directors and changing hands.
Yes.
Where else have we seen that before, Tony?
Yes, this was definitely
It's the
the Snyder Cut situation of its day.
Snyder was influenced by this,
Yes.
man. To create the best Man of Steel.
I assume
Superman
you're
movie
like
of all
me.
time.
We watched this a lot growing up.
Younger.
Superman 1 is definitely the better film, but this was the more fun one. This is the one I used to love when it came on. Because he's fighting the 3 Kryptonians, General Zod and whatnot.
Agreed.
And let's be clear, General Zod was in the comics. I think I looked up today. I think he was in 1961 is when he was introduced. Superboy, I think, found out that there was the general called Zod on Krypton who made robot versions of himself that look like Bizarro, but they're all wearing like suits and then just like Speedos. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. It was in the 60s.
Yeah, so Zod was like this Kryptonian who would show up from the Phantom Zone. But to be clear, the movie version from this is what made General Zod. This is like, we talked about how Blade, the Wesley Snipes Blade, and to another extent, the Spider-Man animated series with Blade completely redefined Blade, who already existed. But those 2 versions changed Blade forever. This version of Zod gave us the Zod that we know.
Yeah, you could say
every version of Zod since then has been this Zod.
Type of Zod.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Shannon killed it later on. But I mean, I guess you can also say the same for Batman 89 with that type of tone that they brought into it. The comics, I mean, the comics started darker.
Yeah, they
I
had
guess.
it there.
Then it got campy.
But
and
yeah,
then they
I'm
went
thinking
back
of
to
just
the
like
dark.
characters that were completely like the performance of the movie affected the character, and they changed the character to resemble that.
Yeah.
General Zod from this movie, played by Terrence Stamp. That is like an early edition of that.
I mean, he's one of my favorite parts of this film when you watch it. But I mean, thank God for the Donner cut. Really?
Yes.
Or
Okay.
could I
So
say thank Zod.
thanks Zod. Zod. Although I have some criticisms of the Donner cut.
Really?
And I need to know, you're more neutral than me. I watched Superman 2 a lot.
Yeah.
So there were things that I really like in that movie that don't end up in the Donner cut, and I need to know if I'm just too nostalgic or if it's fine they left out some of those things.
I'm interested in
yeah,
what
we'll
it
go
is.
through it. We'll go through it.
But I mean, you can also watch this film nowadays and just kind of tear it apart and be like, what is?
Don't get me wrong. Look,
what is going on?
I love Superman 2. It's a real easy movie to criticize and poke holes in. I'm not going to deny that. And the Donner cut fixes some things.
Yeah, some things, but there's
but I feel like they leave out other things that I could have preferred. So yes, I just watched both versions of this movie on the beautiful 4K release from the big 4K box set they put out a few years ago.
Amazon Prime, HBO Max.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not-
all right.
yeah.
That's
I should have came and watched it with you.
You should have just came and watched it with me.
Does it
in
look
4K?
Does it look nice and crisp
Looks
and
beautiful
clear,
in
right?
4K. I actually did a whole breakdown and unboxing of this on Patreon when I got it. But yes, they put both movies on one disc here. Yeah, and I watched them today. Really enjoyed rewatching them. So for those of you who don't know, they were filming Superman 1 and 2 back to back. Let's see here.
2 years, right?
Donner and the producer. I'm saying it right. It is Donner. Because I used to say Donor and got criticized, but now I'm like, wait, is it? It's Donner. It's Donner.
I'm
We're going
pretty
Donner.
sure it's Donner.
Donner and the producers, the Sulkins. I probably butchered that name. We're going to call them the producers.
Okay.
They were at odds because they claimed that the first film ended up costing too much.
Which, when you shoot them both, because they shot them both back to back, right? So that's 2 years, or I guess it's about a year and a half back to back that they did. And he didn't shoot it in order, right? He didn't shoot the first and then the second. He kind of shot them scrambled up.
Well, I mean,
So
they
where-
probably shot them in order enough so where they would have the first movie finished. They probably prioritized scenes for the first movie.
I mean, I'd imagine that they would. I'm not sure exactly how they did it, but I'd imagine that if they had the set up, then they would have, then they would shoot the scenes for the second one while they had that set, going and all that. So then now you're going day by day and trying to structure which money goes to which movie and all that.
So they claimed that it cost too much, but Donner apparently said they never gave me a budget, so I didn't know I was going over budget.
Superman.
So Richard Lester was brought on as an associate producer.
Oh no.
Because the Sulkins really had a lot of problems with people. They were always getting in trouble or getting other people in trouble. He had sued them because they didn't give him money from like a previous thing they worked on.
No.
So to compensate him, they bumped him up to second unit director to kind of shut him up to stop asking them for the money they owed him.
Hey, you
So
want
that's how-
something? Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's how Richard Lester ended up on the thing. He wasn't trying to like
Undercut,
sabotaged.
yeah.
They were friends,
Yeah, yeah.
actually. They
He
were actually good
wasn't
friends.
trying to circumcise one dick to another.
No. So Donner shot 75% of the film, and then they like paused production because they needed to get more financing.
Yep.
While this is happening, Marlon Brando sues the producers because he said that he was owed a percentage of the profits. Probably not as good, but similar to the deal Jack Nicholson got in Batman '89,
Yeah,
where he got like percentage of the profits.
So this is by the time that one already came out.
One is already out now.
Okay.
And it did really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
Everybody
suing
wants to
them.
get paid now.
Yeah, so they settled, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they just so they didn't have to deal with him, they cut out all of his scenes,
Which is incredible to me. Yeah.
all of his
They
scenes.
paid him, right?
Yeah, they paid him.
So
they
why-
settled.
Did Marlon still have a problem?
They probably thought he was going to be a problem again.
let's not do it.
And they're like, you know what? If he's just not in the goddamn movie, we don't have to pay him shit.
Some lawyer read through it and was like, "Oh no.
Yeah,
He's going to sue you again once the second one comes."
So
out.
then I think one of the other producers suggested just replacing his scenes with Lara, Superman's mother,
Yeah,
which Donner was super against.
two totally different types of scenes as well.
Yes.
Like,
And he kind of like, or no, he got a telegram, I think, saying that his services were no longer needed on the film. So this divided, it gets worse.
what
It
a
divided the cast and crew. People are walking off
Yeah,
this movie.
people
I think
quit.
the editors and whatnot. Gene Hackman just refused to do reshoots.
he's like, he said, I'll only work with Donner. And
Yeah.
never came back. Which is,
I think maybe
what a move.
I think maybe he came back to do like ADR, but he did not show up because there's some very obvious body doubles toward the end of this.
There's
film.
also a line or two in there that does not sound like
Oh,
Gene
so maybe
Hackman.
he didn't come back for
I'm not
ADR.
sure if he did. There's when we get to it, I'll point it out. But
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like him.
So yeah, they had to cut around him because they didn't know what to do.
What a boss move.
Yeah. And then it gets worse, Frank. Reeve almost didn't come back because he gave them the time that was allowed and he ended up doing another project and the time on the contract expired. He's like, I'm doing this other thing now.
Imagine being one character for 2 years straight.
Yeah.
Every day you have to go into work. And Christopher Reeve, you can see it in his new documentary. He actually talked about it, how he was, he wanted to be seen as a real actor. And not that Superman wasn't, but he wanted to, get out and show his, stretch his
He
legs
wasn't a
and be
bad
someone
actor.
else.
I've seen him in other things. He's
But
really good.
Imagine for having to be Superman for 2 years straight, which ain't a bad gig, but I'm sure eventually he was like, all right, let me get out of here.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
that's crazy.
Well, it begins how they usually get him back. He settled with him because they sued him because they accused him of backing out of his contract, even though he did give them the time. It's just they screwed up and they delayed the production.
It's now or never.
So they eventually settled. I think he asked for more creative control, which is how they kind of got him back for Superman 4, where he injected all his politics into it.
Oh, yeah.
Which has been done a lot. People usually say, like, oh, modern Hollywood, they want to inject their politics. Like, no, go back to Superman 4. They were doing it a
They've
lot.
always been doing it.
Superman suddenly cares about nuclear warfare, and he wants, I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, so since there's such a big gap in production, the characters change physiques. Margot Kidder goes from being like kind of like thin to looking skeletal in some scenes.
Yeah. I mean,
she like changes size and everything.
You can really, you could tell the difference of how they look, but then also the way that they're acting. I mean, Christopher Reeves, you can see, how he acted for Donner and how he acted for Lester. And it's, I'm sure it was also, direction and, we want this a little bit more lighthearted and an upbeat type of thing. But dude, the Donner cut, Chris Reeves kills it in it. Dude.
And here's the thing. They wanted the producers tried to like argue with the Directors Guild to give co-director credits for the movie. But then Donner said, I don't share credit.
Yeah, he didn't want it.
So Richard Lester got it. But because of that, he needed to direct like a certain percentage of like the thing. So they literally just had to rewrite and add scenes so he could get the full credit without it not having like some big dispute. So that's why they reshot scenes that they didn't need to reshoot.
Wow, I didn't know that.
There's nothing like wrong with some of the scenes, but they're like, well, we just got to reshoot it anyway because we need the percentage change.
And you'll see the difference of takes. It's shot, very similar. It looks the same exact kind of way, but some of the lines are different in some of the scenes, and you feel like you're watching the same movie when those scenes come on. But you're like, oh no, that wasn't said last
And
time.
yeah, look,
but-
and
Yeah.
I don't mind some of the changes he made.
No,
don't
yeah.
mind
I also
some of
heard
it.
Lester wasn't a comic book guy. I heard that he came in, wasn't a comic book fan, didn't read a lot, didn't know
Yeah.
much about the
Well,
character.
back then, it was mostly like a thing for kids back then. So
Agreed.
unless you grew up with it, even if
Agreed.
you're an adult,
Yeah.
you're probably only remembering the comics from your youth.
Yeah, yeah. There's also a behind the scenes on this film,
Mm.
about an hour long, and Christopher Reeve says how part of the reason why they shot it in London, I don't know if this is true or not, but part of the reason why they shot it in London was because their Superman wasn't like a big famous thing over there like it is in America.
Oh.
So he said, if we shot this in America, you'd have, even the cast and crew and all these people on the street, trying to tell you what they like, what they don't like. This is right, this is wrong. Someone always in your ear type of thing. So he was
Yeah.
like, we went over to London and everyone was just chill and relaxed. And they were like, all right, we're shooting a movie. So that's crazy.
But yeah, Richard Lester, I mean, we'll talk about him again when we get to Superman 3 when he has full creative control.
Does he shoot 3 and 4?
No,
No.
4 I think was someone else, but he definitely comes back for 3.
Dick Lester.
Richard Lester.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know who Dave Lester.
I said Dick Lester.
Oh, they said Dick. What the fuck?
No. Big on the dick jokes today. Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you ever see a movie with 2 dicks?
What?
They were split into 2.
What movie?
Dick Donner and Dick Lester in one movie, 2 dicks.
God damn it. All right, anyway,
He's probably gonna cut that out.
let's get into.
I like that one.
Let's start with I'll leave it in. I'll leave it in and let the audience decide. Let's
They're gonna be like, where's the fucking punchline? There is none. It's just 2 dicks, one film.
let's start with the theatrical version of
Yes.
Superman 2 because that's the version everyone knows.
Yes.
So I haven't seen the Donner cut. I wanted to bring you guys up to speed on the other version before we talk about all the changes.
I like it.
It opens up with a recap of General Zod and his crew, Ursa and Nan, being arrested. Although now we get a little bit of an extra scene where they kill a security guard.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry.
What?
I'm dying. I'm dying laughing because just this first 5 minutes of the film that just drags on. And is that a stormtrooper?
Yes, he kills a stormtrooper, and then we get a recap of them being put on trial, but Jor-El's not there. And if you watch these back to back, you'd be like, wasn't Martha Brando in this scene? I feel like we're missing.
What is happening?
I'm like, who's this new voice? What is this? What happened here?
Is that not still his voiceover a little bit in the beginning of this? No,
that is someone else.
All right, yeah.
So yeah, we got a recap of that because I guess they needed to remind you a little bit.
I get it. Yeah, the scene that they put in with them robbing one of the fortresses, one of the buildings, whatever they're stealing, is
They break something and then it's like they're in a trap.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was that quick. It literally just shows, the Nam dude come in, grab the dude, break his neck, and then they just take something.
Which I forgot to look up. That guy, I think, go back and watch my King Kong 1976 review. Because Nan is in that. And I think I brought up his backstory. I think his dad was a mafia guy or something.
Really?
He had a really interesting backstory.
I mean, he looks like a dude they just pulled up off
He
the
is
street.
a big tough dude. And then they put him in that King Kong movie where he's a big tough sailor dude. He was a cool dude. I listened to an interview he did years ago, which he liked Christopher Reeve, but he had a issue with him, and
Really?
I think he threatened to beat the shit out of him at one
Really?
point. Yeah.
Damn.
So anyway, they get in prison minus Brando. They get sent out.
In the hula hoops.
Yes, and then we get just a whole in the hula hoops into the glass mirror.
I can't.
And why would they put the mirror in space? Why did they okay, they're in the Phantom Zone now. Let's put this mirror in a closet and just leave it there.
I mean, all these other iterations is you're going through a portal or something into, a zone, into a different time, space and time, whatever it is. But yeah, when you see that, oh man, it's been a while. When you see it coming through and they're all like, no, and then they're in it. Oh man, it's just, it killed me. Yeah,
because in the old comic, it was a projector, I think. It was
Is that
a
what it
little
was?
gun that shot out.
Yeah. I just watched Young Justice recently. I watched the final episode actually this morning because
You know what?
This movie reminds me of the ending because it's Zod in the big city with the big fight.
Came back because remember they canceled it prematurely, and I remember it came back, and I watched a little bit of it. I was enjoying it, and then I fell off. I never got around to it.
So good. I love the DC.
I gotta finish Young Justice. I gotta finish Titans. I gotta finish Swamp Thing.
Titans at least gets an ending. Swamp Thing didn't.
I know. I was enjoying it, and I just because it just stopped streaming. I think now it's on Tubi, so I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I mean it's out there somewhere. But I mean, I love the DCAU. Love it, dude. Like all the movies all the way through, it's great. But Young Justice, it's in my top.
Young
5
Justice is great. It got canceled real quick. It got canceled wrongfully. Because I forget what other studio was producing it, did it with the idea that they were going to sell toys.
Yes.
And then for whatever reason, the show just hit a chord with like teenage girls who don't buy toys.
Really?
So it got like really good ratings, but then they were like, shit, none of our toys are selling.
Nothing
Cancel the show.
But yeah, it took a 10-year hiatus, something like that, right? And then it came back. The last season is awesome. Like I know that James Gunn isn't, because he's going to connect everything with the animated series and all that now. But if he could give us one more season to wrap it up, dude, it's a big cliffhanger at the end. James Gunn, please, if you're watching this, because I know that you are.
He watches every episode.
Yep.
Every episode.
Please bring back Young Justice for 10 episodes. 10. I'll take 8. 8 episodes. That's it.
And I just want you to know, it's an animated show. It's real easy to draw the back of Frank's head. You just draw.
I'll give you a little shot now, so you can trace it.
You can just trace it. Just trace it.
Maybe something cool. Something really cool. Something like that.
Young Justice. Aliens are attacking in the crowd, and there's just a guy in the back of his head flexing. Like, that's Frank! Anyway, back to Superman 2.
Yes.
So then we get, which I miss when 80s movies did this, just a recap of the previous film. I used to love when they did that. We get the whole film, because back then, the home video wasn't like a thing yet.
Yeah.
Like it existed, but like it was very expensive. So I usually forget, like old movies would just show you like a highlight reel of the first movie in case you missed it hadn't or just forgot it.
Incredible. I actually, before I turned this movie on, I was up on my screen, a second played, I hit pause, and I went onto YouTube to just find a quick recap of exactly what happened in the first. I know we just reviewed it, but I really wanted to refresh my memory on on things, and I couldn't find a solid just recap.
So then
it was all like reviews. So then I hit play, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
And it's like they go through the whole movie. It's like it reminds me of like the Friday the 13th do that. The early Friday the 13th, they just play the last 10 minutes of the previous movie.
Let you catch up.
That's awesome. So Clark shows up for work. And he finds out that terrorists have taken control of the Eiffel Tower.
I love how no one's paying him attention.
Yeah, no one's paying attention to him.
Everybody hates him.
I think Jimmy Olsen's in this scene. He's like barely in this movie.
Yes.
He's in the next version. He's a little bit more. But yeah, I guess with the reshoots, I guess they couldn't get him, so he's just not in a lot of the film.
I mean, even the I don't know if we're not jumping a Donner cut yet, right? I mean, but he's not really in it. He gets a couple more.
He's a little bit more.
He's
He's a little bit more. But this version less.
Also, where was Superman for the past? How long does it take to fly to Paris on an airplane? I'll give you like maybe 9 hours, 8 hours, something like that, right? Lois is already there, and Superman's just finding out about terrorists.
Maybe she was already in town.
8 hours. Where was he for 8 hours?
He was sleeping. Although they do say during you watch the news, like, oh no, blah 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 blah. It's like
he should.
Superman, you should probably have the news on. Like, what the hell,
and
man?
That's not the first time in this movie that happens.
Yeah. The theme of this movie is Superman should really be paying more attention.
And you will do anything for a woman.
Yes, and he's a bit of a simp. Simperman is what I call him. So anyway,
yes.
Terrorists have taken control of the Eiffel Tower, and they have a hydrogen bomb. And if they don't get what they want, they're going to blow it up. I don't think we ever find out what they want. And I do love the humor is still pretty funny. Where he goes, "That's terrible," and Perry White's like, "Yeah, they're terrorists."
I think that they just wanted to kill people, because there's a line when they get rid of the hostages, and one guy goes, well, why are we getting rid of them? This and that. And then one guy was like, it's not going to matter soon. I think they just wanted to just blow it up. That was it.
They're just crazy.
Terrorists.
So yeah, he takes off. He runs into an alleyway and he's running, and there's that weird. Yeah, the theatrical cut just added weird visual effects that don't always make sense.
Yeah.
And this is one of them where he's running and then the suit just fades onto him. The first movie had a little bit of that, like when he jumped out the window and it just
It just turns.
transform.
Yeah, which is like just at least have him rip his shirt off.
Yeah.
like fully all the way, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe the pants is gonna look awkward while he's trying to run or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe have him fly out of the pants.
Maybe.
That'd be kind of
fly out. I want to
You
see
know what I
that
mean?
just flying
Rip
out of
the shirt
pants.
off and then poof, pants are left on the ground.
Did we already have this talk? Like, where does he keep
We
his
might have.
Where does he keep his boots? Like, I know he has the suit underneath, but like, what about the boots?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Lois Lane does her usual sneaking around,
Yeah.
getting into trouble. She ends up underneath the elevator where the terrorists are.
What a move.
I do like that the cops like blow the elevator's like safeties off, so it's plummeting. She's at the bottom of it, but I like that it accidentally triggers the bomb early, and they're like, "Oh no!"
All right.
But Superman saves her.
Yes, when
Yeah.
she gets off this elevator, right?
Yes.
Superman was flying up.
Yeah.
Elevator was coming down.
Mhm.
Elevator stops because he stops it, right? And then Lois Lane jumps directly down when she gets off.
There was a platform there.
But directly underneath where she was. Watch it again. I'm telling you, there's like a weird. Wait a minute, wasn't there at least 20 stories still under her?
Frank, I'm starting to think that some of the things in Superman 2 don't make sense.
All right, I'm not gonna nitpick every single thing here. All right, but that one I will because I looked at it like, wait a minute, she should have at least jumped to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah,
Sorry.
Superman throws the elevator through the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Yes, he does.
I mean, he could have just like grabbed the bomb out of it, I guess, but no, instead he throws the elevator all the way into space.
What if the bomb went off when he went through the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, that would have been a problem.
Also, where the cops were watching, right, from across with the walkie-talkies, like 100 yards away from the Eiffel Tower, that shot right there, they were either at I was just in Paris 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. They were either at like the steps right there with like the big statues and all that. But I'm pretty sure they shot that in a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
That's like an outdoor restaurant right there. And the angle of it, I actually paused it and went back and looked at my photos. Pretty sure I sat at a table right where that cop was standing.
Oh, that's funny.
And I just pointed that out when I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, I was watching it alone, so there was nobody to tell.
You just
But-
said it out loud
but I was
to
like,
no one.
I really did. My wife was sleeping, and I was like, holy shit, we were there.
We were at the thing, the Paris in Superman 2, the theatrical cut, not the direct. And your wife's like, what? Okay, there's 2 cuts of Superman 2. See, Richard, and you just repeat everything I said.
That's why I was late today. Yeah.
So yeah, he throws the elevator out into space with the hydrogen bomb. And what did you know it? The Phantom Zone just happens to be passing by Earth,
I'm not going to nitpick.
and it frees the Kryptonians
Yeah.
from their prison.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Now,
then,
do you think that? Sorry. Do you think that he ever ran that tape? That he has in the fortress that tells him how they could possibly ever get out of that prison. You don't think in the past, so many years that he's had that he ever heard that?
well, yeah,
tape?
no, he has to have, because later on he recognizes the name Zod. So
So
it's like, and by the way, this is the second time he's thrown a nuke out into space, because he did it in the first movie.
it's a big risk.
He really, I know what he's saying. It's like, well, Krypton's so far, and it's a tiny thing. It'll take millions of years to get there. It's
For
like,
them
yeah,
to
but
get to Earth.
but it's like, yeah, but Superman, you made it. You made it here. So maybe be a little. How about that supervision you have? Maybe look around and be like, are there any floating mirrors with people in them? I think I'm good.
Oh man, God, I was in tears the first little bit of this film.
So Clark, this is now like the next day, I guess. Clark is walking to the Daily Planet. Taxi cab crashes into him, and he completely dents it, and then just keeps walking. I'm like, Clark, that's like a big reveal that you're Superman. Luckily, everyone in Metropolis is an idiot. The guy goes, "What a freak!" I'm like, the freak just dented your whole car.
It's like New Yorkers, you're going through something crazy happens, you just keep walking. You're like,
Yeah.
I gotta get to fucking work.
Not when they dent your car.
I mean, also the way that they shot it, like you don't know what happens at first. Like they
Yeah,
don't
'cause
show
it's
the
all
car going
choppy.
in. Yeah, it's very choppy
Yeah.
until he like walks away. Then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that was kind of.
Yeah.
Even Lois is kind of like, watch where you're walking. Not
Yeah.
even like a.
And
hey.
then, actually, inside we realize Lois is on a health kick. She's drinking freshly squeezed orange juice. That's her new thing.
And smoking cigarettes.
And smoking cigarette, with the movies kind of making fun of. And this hit close to home because I knew someone They don't watch the show, but I'm still not going to name them.
Okay.
You met them once. I knew someone that I was in a car with once.
Yeah.
And she was just like, don't use your air conditioner. I'm like, it's hot. And she's like, no, you know how many like bad chemicals are in your AC? It's like not good to breathe in. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And then she lit up a cigarette, like unironically, like I had no idea. I called her out on it years later because I couldn't do it at the time.
Oh, God.
But I was just like, in my head, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I said, it reminds me of Superman 2. The theatrical version, because as we know, this version's not in. This scene's not in the Donner cut.
It's not. I mean, I wonder why it was pulled.
But yes,
they make Lois Lane so like not grimy, but just so like extremely rough around the edges in the beginning here. Like she's like, I mean, it's even like in her delivery, in her voice on how she does it. I don't know if she was directed that way or that's just how she was by this point of filming, but you could tell that she was like either over it or because they just really turned her into a real
she's kind of a jerk
through this theatrical cut.
She's kind of a jerk in this. Also, what is he doing with his thumb? He puts his thumb in the juicer.
Yeah. So
and I don't know if he was just accidentally crushing it or if he was using his thumb to juice it more.
So it was. I took that as like he's playing into the Clark Kent character and accidentally hitting his thumb. Not that she calls him out on it or anything, but he's still just always in that character, always in that zone of Clark Kent. And whether people see it or not, man, I'm still Clark Kent at the end of the day. So
so yeah, I do like that. All the oranges she does, it only gives you a little bit of juice.
His look was like,
but yeah, he's still friend zoned. He's sad, and you know who else is sad? Lex Luthor, who we actually get to see bald for a little bit in this film.
I'm upset that they didn't keep it.
Gene Hackman didn't like it.
Yeah,
I think he did it for these scenes, but he wore a bald cap. He just refused to shave his head.
Yeah, I mean his hair grew back pretty quick.
No, he put a wig on. It's wigs.
In the film, his hair grew back pretty quick.
No,
the first time we see him, he's bald. The next time we see him, he has hair.
Yeah, because this version of Lex wears wigs.
Oh,
yeah, remember?
Because he wears wig.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
we've been over this, Frank.
Take me out to lunch, baby, because that's where I'm gonna be.
Although I think I think it actually was Gene Hackman's hair. They just styled it differently each time. But in the universe of the film, he is bald and wears wigs, which I like. I like that whole gimmick.
I totally forgot about that. In that first scene when he's bald, he really looks like the Lex Luthor from Superman Returns.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Spacey did look a lot like.
Oh, I thought we weren't naming names. But yeah. No, Kevin Spacey, he does really. There's a look that he gives, and he looks just like Kevin Spacey. I was like, holy shit. Yeah.
So they're in prison, him and Otis. Also, we learned that Lex Luthor is into Liberace.
Yes.
And he wants his Liberace records back from one of the prisoners.
When that prisoner answers in the theatrical cut, he says there's a scratch on it.
Yeah.
When he answers in the Donner cut, he says tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what
funny.
I picked up real quick.
That's
I
funny
don't
that
know
they
why I
changed
picked
that
up.
line.
Yeah, I had the subtitles on
There
for
is
the
a couple different
theatrical.
lines that they changed.
Yeah.
There's one that really upsets me. There's one really good line that just doesn't work in the other cut. So yeah, he has a plan to track Superman north because they say Superman always heads north every time he disappears.
Smart guy.
And he's got a box that tracks alpha waves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be their plan to find Superman.
He figured it out. I love him as Lex, man. He's great.
He's great.
He really is.
And then we cut to the moon. And there's astronauts and cosmonauts working together on the moon.
Yeah.
I don't know why they let those damn commies up on the moon.
Whoa.
This was still the Soviet Union.
I guess you're right, huh?
Yes, they were trying to work together.
Yeah. Trying to show, truth, justice, and the American way.
The astronauts notice the Kryptonians, who just know all their powers, and they're not really. They're a little bit shocked by their powers, but they're always just like. So yeah, they kill all the astronauts here
From the second that they get out.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and you're in space.
Yeah.
There's not even a bit of panic to them. That like, oh my god, like you can really show it there that like now that and they're like, oh, we could breathe. Well, what else can we do? But like right off the gate, they're like, oh yeah.
Unless they probably thought this was because they do mention he comes up with the theory real quick on how it happens. So
Agreed.
and Jor-El knew that this would happen. So
Yeah.
there actually is a Superman storyline. It was from I'm going to mention some comics later. About this there was another Kryptonian on Earth, but they talked about how like Kryptonians would travel a galaxy and they would have like yellow sun energy to give themselves powers when they were traveling.
Nice.
But yeah.
I'd always have a yellow sun in my pocket then.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, they kill the astronauts. They unplug the one guy's suit and he blows up. They throw the other guy away, and then they just completely crush the one lunar lander.
This is horrible, man.
I also like when they're driving on little dune buggy, even though they don't have to.
Yeah, there's a lot in this
Yeah.
in this scene right here that really
And-
it's comical at the end of the day. But Terrence Stamp, I mean, he really does. He played a fantastic villain.
He's
to where
great.
Something is this comical and over the top. He really
And he plays
hones
it
in.
100% serious.
Yeah, which is great.
He's
Yeah.
never joking or anything. And the what's her face? The girl plays Ursa is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
I know Feora. Technically, it's a version of Feora who
Technically.
was in the comics.
Yeah.
But like even Feora in the Man of Steel movie, every time they give Zod or a Zod-like character a girlfriend, it's this
Yeah,
performance.
it's Feora. Yeah.
Because remember the animated series, they gave him a different name. It wasn't Zod, but there were two evil Kryptonians, and they were basically Zod and Ursa, but they gave him different names.
I forget.
I forget. I know Ron Perlman voiced him, but I forget the name of the
Now
character.
I'm interested.
So yeah, they decide they're going to go to the planet Houston, and I love that running gag where they're just like, "Oh yes, the planet Houston," because they're saying Houston, we have a problem. I'm like, yes, that must be their planet. Houston.
I mean, if you're flying in, right? Like you would eventually see like a big city or like a main, base or something like that, from space. But they really fly into Houston. How do they know where Houston?
I don't know if they
is?
fly into Houston. I think just fly into a little town. They just think the whole planet's called Houston.
Pretty sure it's like, it's got to be like Texas or something, right?
Oh, that'd be funny. I'll double check. It'd be funny if they actually are in Houston, Texas, if they arrive.
I
at
think the
just
news
that right
reporter at
spot.
one point says something Houston. I could be wrong.
I'll double check. Maybe you're right. Maybe
Let's
you're right.
check.
Also, okay. So I know they have superpowers and everything. I'm like, oh wow, he's very strong, and I'm strong. No one goes, hey, how are we talking in space?
Because you can't nitpick. You can't nitpick.
Like, how
man.
are we breathing?
You got that's
One, we're breathing. I don't know what we're breathing. How are we talking? How's the sound traveling? But no, you're right.
It's one of those many
sci-fi.
things
It's they do it all the time.
Oh man.
Anyway,
I mean, as
I know there-
Kryptonians, you could probably, just hold your breath forever.
I mean, there are some versions of Superman where they do have him wear a suit
Yeah.
with oxygen.
yeah.
So yeah, they decide to go down there to rule. Finally, to rule. Finally. He's so cool.
He's the
so
best.
cool. So Luthor and Otis use a hologram to break out of prison. And I think the prison guard is one of the X-Wing or A-Wing pilots from Star Wars. His face looks super familiar. I think he's one of the Rebel pilots in the first two Star Wars.
A lot of Star Wars in this film.
Well, yeah, London. They filmed it around
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I'd imagine that they shared sets and
Yeah.
did something. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess they would have been around the same time. Empire Strikes Back.
Even like the crawl screen stuff in the beginning. I
Yeah.
mean, not the crawl, but like, it gives you that Star Wars. They really, at the time went off of that whole space theme,
Yeah,
like,
and John Williams
awesome.
isn't doing the score, but they're using his
Yeah.
score. So
right from the first one, they didn't touch anything. They just
I guess they
reused
changed it a little bit, but
yeah.
but yeah, they get into a hot air balloon. Miss Teschmacher, she shows up.
Again, this whole thing
Yeah.
is why wouldn't they? I mean, why wouldn't you wait till after lights out to have you to use the projector thing?
Yeah.
right. And then also like
Yeah, wait, if they
just-
already broke out, why didn't they just stuff their beds? And that's so stupid. Anyway, they freak out.
It's pretty awesome.
And they write Otis out of the movie because he's too fat, and he keeps bringing down the hot air balloon, and they just
man.
kick him out.
I felt so bad.
Poor Otis. And then he doesn't come back.
I really wanted them to go back and save him.
Yeah, but at least Miss Teschmacher comes back.
Yes, she did. Who?
So yeah, they go fly north. They're gonna track those alpha waves. I don't know how you direct a hot air balloon. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
She doesn't, because at one point he goes north, Miss Teschmacher, north, and then like she like looks around, doesn't touch anything, doesn't like maneuver anything.
I know. It's just like, how do you,
we're just going north.
how do you like? I'll never get in one of those death traps, but I don't know how you direct them.
I mean, I'm not even going to attempt it. Never mind.
So yeah, Lois and Clark, they're sent to a honeymoon hotel to investigate.
Yes.
And I love the douchey bellboy. I love that he's just being an asshole to them. I also love the pink bear skin rug.
Yeah.
The super big fireplace.
And it drags on. Like this.
I love it though. I love it though. And
Man.
he's just the bellboy's being such an asshole, and he's just like waiting for the tip. And I like when he leaves, like, have a happy whatever.
Because he's like looking at them like, what are you guys? Like, are you not here for you know, for the bang sesh, or you know, what's going on here?
But yeah, Lois doesn't seem in to this whole idea.
Yeah.
She's like, because they keep saying it's a honeymoon racket. I don't know exactly what the racket is, other than they're overcharging young couples.
Yeah, I mean, the way again with the differences. I know we're gonna get to it, but like the way that this is shown and this drag on of this scene really hammers home like the way that Lois is portrayed in this version of the film, and it's like you're kind of like over it by a certain point because you know it's like she's not always going to be this mean to Clark. Like,
she has more of a the other cut gives her more to do, and you're kind of more invested in her in that version. This one, she's just really mean to Clark.
Yeah, like they make her very bitchy.
Yeah.
Also, at the very end of, I guess it's the Donner cut, the very end of the credits, there's a box that comes up that says, no, we do not condone smoking or the use of animal fur or anything like that. No animals were hurt in the filming of this, and we do not condone it. And then it says Richard Donner at the bottom. So I kind of like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I was seeing if there was a post-credit scene.
I don't think there was. A kid falls into Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
He falls into Niagara Falls. And this
Also, I was there as well.
you're just the biggest Superman 2 fan ever.
They're on the Canada side. I have a picture of me and my wife standing right there at that railing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's weird?
It's crazy.
I was a little confused by this scene. So the kid falls, right?
Yes.
I'm like, all right, the kid's falling. But then it cuts to like a dummy of a little boy also falling. And I don't understand. Why did they show like an obvious dummy falling in this scene where a kid's falling? I don't understand.
I'm pretty sure it was like a toy that he had.
Oh,
And
okay.
The dummy went one way, the kid went the other.
That's so weird. When he was falling,
And,
all the joints in his limbs broke and they flopped all over the place. Anyway,
So this whole scene, this whole setup is just it's a lot. It's over the top. I mean it kind of gets you to the point of Clark Kent and Superman are never in one place more than once.
yes, where she like finally she had that idea at the end of the first film.
Yeah.
But in this version, she's like, and he's gone again.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's obviously Superman. Then he comes back from the hot dog
Yeah.
thing. He's like, oh, what happened?
He
Although
also
I do love
he steals hot dogs.
he does steal them. I do love when he's saving the boy and coming up, you just hear that old lady go, what a nice man. Of course he's Jewish.
What a nice man. Of course he's Jewish.
It's in both cuts.
Right?
Honestly, actually, I think you hear it clear in the Donner cut.
one. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I thought I read that in the first time I watched the theatrical, but then I was like, I heard
For
it in
whatever
Donner, I was
reason,
like,
they
whoa.
made sure that line was a little bit more clear.
What a nice man. Of course he's Jewish.
So good. This whole Niagara Falls thing was shot there with a crane and stuff like that, right? Over the falls. But then they recreated it in LA on a back lot, and they flooded like a certain point.
Oh, that's cool.
And made the rapids to kind of look like
Yes.
So when she jumps off and
Yeah, the rapids are coming
I'm
up.
jumping the ship.
Yeah, the rapids
sorry.
are coming up, but first we got to
Don't bury the lead, Frank.
First, we got to see Luthor finding the Fortress of Solitude.
Yes.
And he learns about Krypton. There's that awkwardly animated like screen made of crystals that comes up that's not in the other version.
Yeah,
And then there's
really-
like that bulge Kryptonian that's doing the tree poem, and then it's Lara, his
Yeah.
mother.
This
And-
whole thing really kills me. It really threw me off. Like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, and I love that he like just puts the right crystal in to ask it a question. And she's like, yes, Krypton, we had prisoners and there's no death penalty. And I like, he goes, sensible.
It's good.
And she's like, we put them in the Phantom Zone and they're out there. And then I do like when she goes, I wish you didn't ask me that. And he goes, I didn't answer anything. It's just because it's predicting what Clark would say.
Yeah, but it feels like she answered that, but didn't answer
Yeah.
anything else that he was
She's
saying.
like,
or even
it's-
notices that he's there.
Yeah.
But usually they like the AI knows that Clark's there and sees who it is.
Except for in this case, apparently.
But why do they, like, the next time that Clark gets back to the fortress, his mom or dad or whatever shows up, should be like, hey, by the way, Lex Luthor was here, and he learned about Zod.
Yeah, it doesn't tell him anything. That happened in Superman Returns also, where he's like, I want all the crystals, and the big Marlon Brando head would be like, you're not Superman. Get out of here.
What are you doing here, kid?
Yes, she tells him, like, they can only be released with a nuclear explosion in space. Oh, wow, that exact same scenario.
Also, Miss Tessmacher says, there's one thing they don't have, and Lex says, you couldn't have gone before we left, and that was 2 days ago.
I know.
So she hasn't done anything
in 2 days.
In 2 days?
Of them. So then Luthor, he's just hearing about this, and he goes, 3 Kryptonians. They're gonna need my help, and I'm like, wait, how does he know they exist? He's like, oh wait, my box is picking up 3 alpha waves. That has to be the Kryptonians. Like, wow, that's very convenient.
What are the chances it's happening right then?
Keep in mind, this is an adaptation of a fucking comic book, so it can be that convoluted and stupid.
I got
it. Really funny.
But there had to have been a better way to write this in to have him, join up with Zod.
So back at the Rapids, Lois was like, "Hey, you know what, Clark? I think you're Superman." He's like, "Are you ridiculous?" She's like, "I'm going to prove it." And she throws herself into the rapids.
Yes.
Would not have done that.
No.
Would have picked a little bit of a safer thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I like that he figures out a way to save her without using his powers.
Yeah.
Well, he uses his powers, but without turning into Superman.
Do not do this at home, because if you're floating down the river, right, and then you grab onto a branch, that branch is going to float the same way that you're floating.
I don't know why that branch somehow
A branch will not swim you to safety.
I don't know if it'll keep you from going under, but you'll still be in the rapids.
Yes.
It'll still be in the rapids.
But if she didn't have the branch, wouldn't she still have just ended up on the side
had
anyway?
an inner tube on, I'd probably survive. No, I probably wouldn't drown, but I'll probably hit every goddamn rock I come across.
Oh, man. Yeah, in the behind the scenes, you can actually watch a lot of how they shot this.
Yeah.
And Stunt Woman went in, and then, they had to put Margot Kidder in there as well to have the close-up shots that they did and this and that. And it's kind of cool how they recreated the rapids in the back lot and mixed and matched it with the actual.
I didn't know they
Niagara
recreated
Falls.
them. It looked like they just threw people in rapids.
I mean, it's like it's really a lot for the close-up shots, I guess. But I mean, like, unless they threw a dummy into Niagara Falls, I don't know how they got those wide shots.
No, because that actually looks like a stunt woman, and we've seen what their dummies look like, and I think I would have noticed.
Oh no, it's definitely.
I think I would have noticed.
You are correct. You are correct. But yes, that was incredible.
Yeah, so he saves her, and she feels like an idiot.
Well, then he falls into the water. So
yeah,
he really sold it.
He really did sell it.
When she finally finds out, right? They should have had like a scene or like even just a one-off line of like, you almost let me fucking drown? I almost drowned for you to cover up that you're Superman? I would have been pissed.
I would have been pissed too.
I wouldn't have dated him anymore. That was it.
Yeah. The Kryptonians, they arrive on Earth.
Yes, they do.
And they have fun with their powers. They're floating. They're walking on water. They get into an altercation with the snake. Although it's funny when the snake bites her and she throws it as if she got bitten. I'm like, your skin's impervious. That snake did nothing to you. But this sets up the funny running gag. It's like a rule of threes thing where like Nan has trouble using his lasers.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it.
Oh God. Yeah. What's it called? Oh God. When you can't get it up.
Erectile dysfunction.
He's got ED.
His laser eyes dysfunction.
You know, I didn't know what that was called because I don't have it, Tony. But yeah, I like how
if you ever get it, I still have a bunch of Blue Chew from that brand deal I did a few years ago. I still have them. They're there.
I'll be sure to give you a call. When he lands, I like how he lands in the middle of the lake and they land on the dirt
then and then obviously it's the drunk fisherman being like,
what am I drinking? Yeah. Just to test the waters.
So then back at the honeymoon suite, Clark trips. Because Superman trips apparently.
Yes.
Puts his hand in the fire and she realizes that he's okay, and now I think he says he did it on purpose. He wants to tell her.
He said that he didn't want to, and then she was all like, well, maybe, your body, was, wanted to do it for you and get you over it. But this is a very quick turnaround. It's why, it's part of the reason why I like the Donner Cut better. But there's a very quick turnaround to where he just went through all that to not, to maybe she could have drowned and this and that to save her and not, give up that he's Superman. And then all of a sudden the next scene, boom. Okay, well, let's get into it now. So
I don't like that he kind of does it.
Yeah.
After you said after doing all that.
Yeah, it's
but they're in love now.
Well, they have to talk about it first.
Well, yes. But while that's happening, the Kryptonians just like fuck with the sheriff, and this is when we start introducing weird powers, like the gun levitating powers, which somehow survives into the next cut. But yeah, he does a gun levitating power. Where does he laser the gun?
There's something that comes out. Yeah,
something comes out, and then the gun
first
floats.
he does the eye thing,
and
he
then
does the lasers so that it burns him and you know, whatever. But then he floats it over with just a laser pointer finger to bring it, and then he shoots himself.
Yes, and I do love that he loves the police car. He's like, I like the light that glows like our red Krypton sun, but I don't like the sound. They destroy the car.
Nan goes over and grabs it and goes to hand it to him. I like that the best. Because then Zod's like, no, I don't actually want it.
Yeah, that's another thing. They add in this thing with like Nan being like a baby almost with the fucking thing.
It's like, what is going on, dude? Also, when he throws the gun, it lands in front of the tire. Then the turnaround shot, it's behind the tire. So,
fucking mistake. Trash movie.
PAs and set directors on set screwed that one up.
So then Superman shows Lois his fortress.
Yes, he does.
And apparently he has no TV or anything. So he has no idea that the Kryptonians are destroying a town.
Yep.
He does let her know about the crystal, though. He's like, it built this whole thing. It's cool magic green crystal I happen to have.
That's green. That should be kryptonite. That should take his powers.
I don't think it's like kryptonite. I think it's just a different crystal that powers all the other stuff.
That's green. I get it. It's just
but I do like when they the Kryptonians go into town and Ursa arm wrestles the guy. That scene's fun. I like some of these scenes, and I like that Nan is still practicing his lasers. Like he's trying to like laser like a truck, like the wood on a truck. And he's like
the kid's looking at him like
staring at him.
What's going on? I like how they end up in some hick town with a bunch of idiots and really really downplayed, and then she goes to town, throws the guy through the wall.
And then they end up taking over, like, Superman's flying to islands, grabbing bird of paradise and fruit, and they're just destroying this whole town. They take down the whole military.
I forgot that was in this, that he flies to the jungle to go pick up fruits and vegetables and stuff for dinner. That I was like, wow, that was, It took him way too long to fly to Paris to save Lois Lane.
Yeah, but he go to the north to the jungle and come back. And during his whole trip, he'll never hear any like calls or anything about this.
Nothing about what's going on.
He's not going to swing by a newsstand and just catch up. Nothing.
There's a lot.
I do like that Lois says she's going to change into something more comfortable. And I have it here. She has clothes there?
Yeah, what? He also asked when they land that I hope you're not cold, and she's like, oh no, I actually feel fine for being up here, which is like he didn't tell her to begin with. Hey, maybe we should pick you up a jacket.
Yeah, he radiates warmth. Because remember, in Superman Returns, she says, "I forgot how warm you are."
Oh, baby, yes.
Fix that plot hole. Okay, so do you think
she changes?
Do you think that he's such a simp that he went and bought women's clothes with the hopes that maybe one day Lois would come back to the fortress?
He went to her house last week when she was at work, took her lingerie, and brought it back to the fortress and put it in the closet. Actually, he might have laid it on the bed for her.
It just seems weird that there's women's clothes there ready to go in her size.
Yes.
It reminds me of the first episode of Reno 911. You ever watch Reno 911?
A long time ago.
The crazy cop lady, Trudy, the one who's weird.
Yeah,
She's just like, sometimes I buy baby clothes just in case. And the guy just looks at her. He's like, wait, what? And then he gets into a car accident. So Superman just buys women's clothes just in case a girl comes over.
Just in case, man. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe his mom was going to come back, you know? You
never know. You never know. So yeah, then Superman talks to his mom hologram.
Yeah.
And she doesn't bother to go, oh, by the way, there was a bald man here.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Miss Teschmacher, out of the movie. Gone.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Superman learns from his mom that if he wants to be with a mortal woman, it's weird they're saying mortals. I'm like, no, they're not like Greek gods. Just say human.
Yeah.
He would have to live like one.
Well, more. Yeah, this really,
Yeah.
this is another thing that really comes quickly.
Yeah. And then she's like, and by the way you do that is this chamber right here. Just get in there.
Yeah.
It's got a red sun energy. It'll zap the superpowers out of you.
Let's not maybe talk about this, or even Lois Lane speak up like, hey, no. I love Superman.
Can we talk about this first?
Not Clark Kent, or, hey, tomorrow if I do fall out of a window, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, Lara should be like, oh, by the way, maybe take. She should say, by the way, this is something you could do, but I put a timer on it. You're not allowed to use it for a year. Make sure you really like this girl before you do this. Instead, she's like, yeah, get in there, just zap those powers out. Boom.
Yeah. Huh. I mean, that would be, or at least a little bit more of a warning. That, you just, it doesn't have to be a year, but just something that says, you should really think on this.
And she goes, it's definitely permanent. No green crystal will save you. And then she winks.
Does she wink?
No.
Rewind that back. I want to know if she winks or not.
So, yeah, he gets in the, I guess they set it up a little bit. He gets in the chamber.
Yes.
And he's in his Superman outfit.
Yes,
he gets in the chamber, and it zaps him. Of his powers, and it destroys the whole crystal setup. And I remembered, I'm like, oh, they made a point to say the green crystal isn't in the control panel.
Yeah.
So I guess that was their way around it.
Because Lois Lane was going to steal it?
I think she was just looking at it and just left it there.
Are you sure?
Because she's inconsiderate. She should put it, like you not putting your thing on a coaster, she just throws the crystals all over the place.
It is now, baby. It is now. I don't know about product placement, so I kept it behind the 4K. But isn't, what was I going to say there? Shit, what were we saying? You fucked me up with the coaster. So now I'm just going to let you know again. Coaster. All right.
He gets out of the chamber.
Yes.
And now he's dressed like Clark.
Yes.
He leaves like a ghost of his former self in there. And so this is Richard Lester directing, and he was like, I like this idea of Clark and Superman. I'm going to save that for 3. So.
Oh, God.
They get out.
Oh, God.
They get out. She hugs him, and they make a beeline to that bed.
Right to the bedroom.
The space bed.
Right, which does not look like it breathes very well.
No. Also, he has like,
very
he also has like a dining table and stuff. How many fucking visitors does he have to the Fortress of Solitude?
Maybe it's another power that, he like created these things out of, nothing.
The crystal made it for him.
The crystal made it for him? Yeah. When I first saw that bed, it looks like plastic or, something like that.
Yeah.
If you're sweating on that bed, it's just going to stay
I'm sure it's
on it and roll in it. And then it's just, it turns into a water bed. Yeah, it just looks,
Here's the thing,
it was rough.
Here's the thing, though. Because they did this, they added this whole element here.
Mm-hmm.
People came up with the stupid theory that like Superman can't have sex with humans because he'll kill them.
Yes.
It's like a whole thing.
Why? I mean, why else?
And it's because of this scene in this particular movie, which we learned from the other cut was not a thing because they moved it around.
Yeah.
So it's just like, because that's not a thing in the comics. He can just hook up with women.
It's not a thing in any other iteration of Superman. So, I mean, it really drives home the point of like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
But I love they go right to the bedroom. They're like, all right, let's do this. I'm like,
okay, I'm a man now.
Oh, like, oh man, I would have tested if you had sexual chemistry before you sapped all the powers.
Or at least like start slow. Maybe do some hand job stuff.
Yeah,
like,
just work up to it. The pieces,
I can still be Superman. I don't have to go, all the way with the home run. Let's start at first base and let's work into this. And then, hey, if we are really in love, then I'll get rid of my powers one day.
She gets to the bed. She's like, I just want you to know I don't do blowjobs. And I'm like, oh no, I gotta get back in the table.
Mom, please. Mom, she won't kneel before Superman.
Mom, she's bending the wrong way in doggy style. I don't know how to correct her without feeling like an idiot.
Dude, you're right, dude. This whole movie's about blowjobs. Kneel before Zod? Dude.
That's all he wants. That's all he wants.
Oh, man, I know we're going to get to it, but the president knelt very quickly. Very quickly.
So anyway, I love this scene of Zod and his crew just lasering Mount Rushmore and putting their faces on it. I love that scene.
Dude, is that now? Is that happening now? That's where we're at?
Yeah.
All right.
And then they take over the White House.
I know, dude. Hold on, wait. That I just gotta say, the Donner Cut one it made more sense. This was very.
No, I like this better. I like this better. And you're right, the old school effect, it's not like matted right, so like part of it is like shaking when it shouldn't. Yeah. No, I love it. This is great. I don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. This is great. This is great.
I'm having fun. I had fun with it when I watched it, but I was like, whoa. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen these. Did they blow up the town? Did we?
Yeah, they destroyed the whole town,
right?
and they said they're going to take over there. They want to know who the president is, so they're going to the White House.
I like just the effects and stuff through all that, and the amount of
like blowing up the helicopter. It was a cool scene.
The Jeep going through the with the test dummy on it, you could see him coming out, and
or when he blows the fire into the bar, that was really cool.
Like that one, and then we really get more blowing when she blows the helicopter through into the bar. They really
like blowing.
There's a point in this where it's a 2-minute, maybe 3-minute scene of strictly blowing.
They're never breathing in, which is the weird part. They just all in.
We'll get to it. But
so Zod takes over the White House. That is a fun scene where they just walk into the White House and no one can stop them. They're just killing it. I think Zod just picks up the gun. He's like, he really doesn't need to use it.
He shoots it a couple times.
They break in.
This is the Matrix before the Matrix.
Yes. I wonder if that was influential.
Yeah, I mean, with the pillars and all that, they're coming through, they're getting shot at. Like, it's kind of fun. And then they also don't know how to use doors.
Yeah.
So
they just break in everywhere.
Do they not have doors on Krypton?
No, they didn't. Did you see a door on Krypton? I didn't see a single door in that first movie.
I guess it's a galaxy far, far away. Yeah.
They break in. The president kneels, and he's like, "You're not the real president." They're like trying to run a con. So the real president is like, "I will kneel as long as it protects people." And he's like, "But there's someone here who won't kneel before you." Ooh. Named Superman.
You don't give blowjobs.
And then I do like when he goes, "Oh God," and Zod goes, "Zod." It's Zod. Because he doesn't know. He's probably like, he said my name wrong. I'll correct him. Like, why do people keep saying, "Oh my God, my name's Zod"? They're like, "Oh no, God's like a thing."
If anything, he should say Ra.
Yeah, Ra.
So,
great Ra.
I think that they're doing in the new Superman. I think they're bringing in that kind of like lore.
Yeah, why not?
Because there's
they did it in the Supergirl show. They mentioned like Ra and stuff.
So the Immortals that come down, or the Illuminati in the Supergirl show. There's 3. What's his name? Something Caan. Oh God, don't kill me. But they're
I forget now.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow this whole part, but yeah, they're all about Ra and serving.
Yeah,
Ra,
they call themselves
the
Spear of Ra or something.
So
like
there's I just saw on IMDb today that there's a guy listed as a Jahuporian. I'm gonna mispronounce this again. And they're like, I think that their god is like Ra and all that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I started looking more into this new film that's coming out and trying to figure out what the plot's gonna be. So
I'm wondering to see if that guy's gonna be Ultraman or Parasite, one of them.
Yeah, maybe.
But yes, they're taking over. Clark, I guess he had a car parked next to the Fortress of Solitude, and they drive.
Unless they stole it, dude. He's a man now.
Or they stole it.
He's just a regular guy.
So they go to a diner, and I do that. He's like, when he gets out of the car, he's like, "Ow, my back hurts," like, because he never experienced it before. Yeah. So they go to a diner.
Wait, where did they go? Because that's a far drive,
I don't
right?
know, Alaska maybe,
So,
or
like-
somewhere in Canada, I
Right,
assume.
like I guess Canada coming from the North Pole, coming
Yeah.
down there in Canada, because that's a far. Oh, man,
And
lots
then-
going on.
And then, because I guess he's so super powered, but he's never actually fought anyone before. He's never had anyone to fight.
But don't you think that he would still have form, like knowledge of like duck?
Unless he was
or-
like training in the Fortress of Solitude, maybe.
wouldn't you be? If you were
I would
Superman?
be.
Like
But yeah, he tries to fight this bully, and this fucking trucker bully beats the shit out of him.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like Rocky beats the shit out of him.
I think his name's Rocky.
Yeah, it is. So he beats the shit out of him, and Superman's just like, and then like, yeah, Lois is like, I want the man I love back. I'm like, oh no, you changed for her, and she's not into it.
She's not into it, dude. She notices, like, I mean, the second that he changed and she's overlooking in the fortress and she's looking down, like, what?
She's like, no, I was
what?
kind of into
What?
the
Is he
Superman stuff.
starting to back up a little bit, like, no. Yeah, I was into the flying.
Yeah.
And
I
then-
really like that stuff. Not so much the Clark stuff.
And then he goes to bleed a little bit, and
Yeah.
she's out of town. She's like,
Yeah.
oh,
And
God.
then to make matters worse, the TV's on. They're like, General Zod. He's like, oh fuck, what are the chances that was gonna happen? Oh no!
Finally, a TV turns on. Thank the Lord.
Someone put a TV on. But it's just because he says Zod, so he's aware that this was always a threat that might happen.
This could happen any day. So he was coming.
He just put it off the back of his
Oh,
mind. He's like, what are
God.
the chances?
What a guy. What a guy. To just
So
give it all up.
yeah, I guess Lois takes the car back to Metropolis, and he has to walk all the way back to the fortress.
Yeah.
And he goes there, and he's like, I fucked up!
It's a long walk.
Father, who's not in this version of the movie.
He does say they do keep father in. Yeah, that's right. Oh,
I think
shit.
they add mother.
Yeah, I think they
Mother!
added
Mother.
Yeah. But even yeah, I mean that scene
Yeah.
is way better in the other cut.
Yes, 'cause
his,
then-
his monologue there is so much better.
Yeah, because then he's upset, and he's gonna just leave. But then the green crystal, which was never put back in the
Which
thing,
was stolen
starts
by
glowing.
Sticky Fingers.
Yes, and he grabs the green crystal, and we never see what happens. So then, Luthor enters the White House, and this is how because people say they use Lex Luthor too much, and they kind of do. But if you're going to use him, I like it like this, where he's maybe pulling the strings or working with other villains.
Yes. Yeah.
The fact that he's always the main bad guy
Yeah.
in films,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, okay, no, that was cool like once or twice.
Agreed.
Which I think the new one, he's probably the main bad guy, but he has other villains for Superman to fight. That's what I like.
Yes, he'll always
Yeah.
be in the background trying to control things,
Yes,
which
yes.
is kind of cool. I mean, in this, he kind of is like, more of an Otis type of thing. So,
Yeah, well, Otis is dead. I don't know.
Exactly.
Otis is gone.
So,
But
but
yeah.
he's technically just trying to stay alive. in
Yeah,
this.
and I think that's why Otis and Teschmacher got written out, because then there's just too many
Oh,
villains.
they would have been killed.
And they're like, don't worry, we don't need comedic stuff from Otis. We have he'll be funny.
He'll be
Um,
the guy who can't say a damn thing. So then Lex comes in and he becomes the comedic.
Yeah.
the-
And I love that he's like, hey, look, I can help you with this and this and this. He's like, I have Superman's address.
I like the white flag that he
Yeah.
says before he walks in.
He tells me it's Superman's address. And I love that he's being a dick, and they're like, we're just going to kill you. And he's like, no. They try to kill him so many times, and he always
No.
weasels himself out of it.
It's so good. He's like, you got 3 of you guys, and then
Yeah.
I
I do like when he
Count him
touches
as two.
Ursa's hand and she like crushes it. He's like, ah. But yes, all he wants,
bites his thumb at Zod there as
Yeah.
well too.
But
He might be
remember-
sucking on it, but he does bite it.
Remember, he is all about land schemes. So all he wants in return is Australia. Australia.
Love that.
Wants
and then
to be the ruler of Australia, which they call him later in the movie.
so this movie was first released in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
They put it
So
out there first?
So it released in, I want to say, Australia and South Africa in December of 1980. December 4th, 1980 was released there. And then it didn't come to the States until July 19th, 1981. It was out
Weird.
for almost 6 months more than 6 months before
They did
before
do that
released.
with some movies once in a while. They would release them real early in other countries.
I don't know. I mean, it was the top earning movie of its time.
Yeah.
It took 91,
Yeah.
256 million at the box office.
Jeez, that's
it took
good.
54 million to make, which I don't know how you differentiate between 1 and 2.
Well, with inflation, that's a good movie. That's a good.
But-
that made a lot of money.
I mean, I guess they were trying to appease the Australian crowd.
I guess so. I hope they liked it.
Throw another shrimp on the
Well, yeah,
barbie.
they actually filmed a lot of Superman Returns in Australia, I think. So that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Someone left a whole big comment recently on how like we didn't recognize the Australian lady on the plane in Superman Returns. Apparently, like she's a big deal over there. Anyway.
Oh, well.
Sorry.
Screw us.
Sorry.
Shit. I got to go to Australia.
And he lets them know that Superman, because they keep hearing about the Superman. They're like, who the hell is this guy? And he's like, oh, by the way, he's the son of Jor-El. And they're like, oh, all right. Also, I like this thing. There's like this little character arc with Zod where like he is almost upset when he wins. Because earlier he's like, I win. I always win. And then she's like, you're ruler of all you see. He's like, and I was the day before. So he just kind of wants the fight and the challenge. He doesn't actually, as much as he says he wants to rule, he actually hates the ruling part.
Yeah.
It's just the getting to that part he likes.
I mean, there's not a lot of, character development for them in this. There isn't, it's kind of just a one-trick pony. Like they're very much just, I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna dominate and
Which
take
I kind of like.
over,
I kind of
and
like that they're one
it.
note, and it makes fun of it. They're like, "I will rule. I rule now." I'm like, "Oh,
yeah."
I thought it'd be cooler. Oh, something's in my way. I'm gonna rule. They constantly need a struggle.
All right, let's get him now. Yeah, let's all get him. Revenge. Yes. All right. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, so
I enjoy it.
the Kryptonians, they storm the Daily Planet and they hold Lois Lane hostage. They're like, "Where the hell's Superman?" They're like, "Oh no, you hold on to her, he'll come running."
That's his friend. Again, they don't know how to use doors, so they just
it's all these people.
crush all the way
people
through.
learn how to use doors.
Yeah.
Jimmy Olsen is there. Perry White's there.
Yep. I get another scene in there.
And I love that they're going to kill Lex Luthor. They're like, all right, we're going to kill you now. And then the big reveal, Superman comes back.
Boom, baby.
General, would you care to step outside?
I love that, Lex Luthor was about to be killed. And then, think Lois is like, Superman. Lex Luthor goes, oh, Superman, thank God. I mean, go get him. I think I might have gotten some of my assholeness from Lex Luthor.
I mean, it just saved his neck there, which is great.
Yeah.
Superman figured out, hey, I just got my powers. Where's the first place that I should go?
Yeah.
Straight to the Daily Planet.
Yeah.
Okay. But now his super hearing finally works, that he knows
paying
where they
attention
are.
now.
Okay.
He's paying attention now.
Smart man. Good for him. And then
Look. He was going through a dry spell. All right. He wasn't thinking right.
Yeah.
He made some rash decisions. He wasn't paying attention to what matters.
Yep, that's the third dick in this movie. Yep.
Yeah.
He was thinking with his dick.
Frank, we all do it. Some do it more than others. Their name might be Tony from Hack the Movies. Anyway, we really got to get back into this.
Get laid, fly. Get laid, laser vision. Get laid, teleport and show at least 4 or 5 of me at one time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Am I jumping the gun? I'm jumping the gun.
God, okay. So yeah, we get the big Metropolis fight. And I love this whole fight. I love that Superman is struggling to fight with them, but also keeping the citizens safe.
And save the people.
If this was Zack Snyder, he'd be like, oh, I'll just let them all die because it's more important I punch that guy than save anyone.
There's a couple saves there.
Yeah.
There's a couple saves.
But yeah.
Batman saved a child.
That's true. That's
So,
true.
he made up for it in the next one and had Bruce Wayne coming through and saving kids. And
Yeah.
because he was probably like, oh, you want people saved? Okay, I'll give you a full 10-minute opening of people getting saved, okay?
But I like this. And I like that they realize that's his weakness. They're like,
Yes.
oh, wait a minute. He actually cares about these people.
Yes.
And I love that she's like pets? He's like, yeah, I suppose. They have no concept of just
What's
being
going on.
friendly. But no, some of it's a little dated, but it's still a fun, little action scene.
It's kind of messy. I
do
with
love when
this-
they go underground and it's just an
Yeah.
earthquake.
But that's also they either didn't know how to have them fight, or they wanted to save some money on the fight.
It's a fun way
and
to
put
save money,
strings
but
and all
you
that
get
out there.
I've always
Yeah.
enjoyed that scene. That's
Yeah.
actually really fun.
I
We
know.
can't actually show it.
Again. Yeah. Again, I'm nitpicking, but I mean, that probably went through their heads. But yes, it is a very cool way to show it.
I love when he reflects the laser back at Zod and it like burns and stuff.
Yeah. How does Zod know to hit that truck right there on the gas tank right there if he's not
guessing.
from?
He's just guessing.
Okay, and then the mirror. That wouldn't. That's
yeah. In my mind, I feel like the mirror would just melt.
I like when he gets hit though, and it says "cool it" behind him, like his whole body's, Yeah.
There is a lot of product placement in this.
Oh, in this scene, they made their money in 2 minutes.
But
right here.
the fact that Metropolis in this movie is basically New York, I don't know if you could tell. I don't know if you saw the. I almost said Eiffel of Liberty. Oh my god! I don't know if you saw. What the fuck is it called? No, not the Statue of Liberty. The Empire State Building.
There you go.
Oh my god! Reset.
Okay.
Metropolis is basically New York. I don't know if you noticed the. Oh my god! I almost said the Statue of the Empire.
The Empire State Building.
Empire State Building. Frank, I don't know if you noticed.
No.
But Metropolis is basically New York. Did you notice the Empire State
Building? I was just going to say that. Yeah. That's how you know that it is. Because
you almost said Eiffel of Liberty. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even have wine this time. We're dead sober.
Was the Statue of Liberty actually donated by the French? Was that
yes.
one of the things? Right?
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why.
Anyway.
That's got to be it on your knowledge of history.
But since it's basically New York, which has a lot of advertisements, you kind of get away with it.
Yes.
That's like the Spider-Man scene where they fight in Times Square, and I'm like, that's where you put all your product placement.
But like it's what?
Weird.
It's Coke, it's Marlboro, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean, it's all just thrown.
It's funny that there's a cigarette advertisement in this, in a movie that kind of was criticizing cigarettes earlier.
Yes. I mean, those are the times.
But it makes more sense here than in small town Smallville, where there are no mom and pop shops or anything. It's all 7-Elevens, IHOP, Sears, U-Haul truck.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, maybe they were just
honoring. There's not one mom and pop shop in town. It's all big brand stores.
Maybe they were just honoring, Superman 2.
Yeah, it made more sense in the city.
Yeah. They wanted to bring it back.
But yeah, no, again, a lot of this fight is awesome. I love when they throw the manhole is really cool. I love when they throw the bus at Superman.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun.
I mean, it's a lot of it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the time, and for the, when people love this scene and all that. I mean, watching it now, you're kind of
That's a little dated now, but it's fine.
But then also Superman gets hit by that bus, right? And then immediately, it's not just even like, okay, he's down for a little bit. Immediately, all of the people in that area right there are saying, Superman's dead. They killed Superman. Oh my God, they killed Superman.
Yeah, they're like, he's actually survived a lot. What are you talking about?
This guy's taken, a lot of damage and didn't kill him.
Speaking of the Empire State Building,
nice.
When the antenna falls, there's just that mom who just forgets that she can run.
She has legs.
Yeah. She's like, oh no. Over the baby. It's like, just keep moving forward.
Pure terror.
Go forward.
Well, she's got to go left or right.
No, you can go forward.
Was it forward? I mean, coming down like this,
it's not even like the stroller was stuck. That would have made a little bit more sense.
If she just, here, I'll just help the camera out right here. This is her, right? This is coming down. Step to the left. Boom. Got it. But, I understand. Yeah. Straight fear.
There are some wacky citizen stuff in this. I do like when he gets hit with the pole and he goes, wow, home run. Yeah. By the way,
this is going to be good. Yeah,
none of these people are going, oh my God, we gotta run. We're all gonna die. They're all like, oh, let's check it out.
It's like, I guess it's supposed to be like New Yorkers and all that, but like,
I don't know.
And like, people are still gonna run. Nobody runs. Yeah. Even towards the end of it, you get the two kids going down the subway, and they were like just watching, just waiting to see what happens. Yeah. And they're like, oh, all right, let's get out of here.
They do try. Speaking of beating Spider-Man to the punch, the whole city tries to team up.
Yeah.
They try to take on the Kryptonians, and they blow them. So
they blew a whole crowd, baby.
And then here, I don't know.
I actually heard one of the people in the back screaming, "This little guy, another blowjob." You can actually see him in the back unzipping himself real quick because he's like, "Oh, hell yeah, this is what I came for."
Anyway. Okay.
That's a lot. I drank a lot of coffee today.
This should be like a dark, like not like dark, but like a serious, like, oh no, the bad guys are gonna win moment.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, they put in just a million comedic gags. Now, the roller skating man is in the original version of the movie. We learned from the next cut, although they reduce him a little bit.
Yeah.
But we have, let me see here. We have roller skate guy. We have, so a couple was getting ice cream, totally oblivious to what was going on. And they walk out and the ice cream hits the guy's face.
After it's been going on, by the way. It's not like this is just started.
It's been going on for a while.
This is happening.
And I guess this other couple was just really enjoying their date.
Yeah.
And they're leaving their house and both their wigs fly off. And then there's a guy who's just having a hilarious conversation on a payphone.
So good.
And he gets blown over and he's just laughing constantly. I'm like, why did they inject... Like, this movie had comedy injected into it after the fact.
Yeah.
And I'm actually fine with a lot of the comedy they put in it.
It's fun.
It's out of place here. I'm like, what is it doing here? This should not be at this part of the movie.
This is your big fight scene. This is your big set piece. Like, this should be, straight to the point and, big fighting and action scenes. But, you get this.
Also, I never noticed this before until I watched it in 4K.
Uh-huh.
But when it cuts to the miniature cars being blown, did you look at the sidewalks?
No.
Okay. I get it was a good idea for the time.
Yeah.
So it cuts to like full-size cars being blown, and then it'll cut to miniatures, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And on the sidewalks, there are people walking, and they're just figures, like are probably on like a little conveyor belt sort of thing, but they're all staying super still.
Oh, shit.
And you can just totally see that they're just motionless action figures.
Just rolling.
I was cracking up.
So you could see it in the behind the scenes hour that they have. It's out on YouTube, and they literally put conveyor belts, cars all over it, lit them with lights with a switch, and then it just goes around and around for a lot of the shots.
I never noticed it until this. I'm like, that's hilarious. They're just like.
Even like the people I didn't even notice. You see it more in the cars, I guess, than looking to
like
the side.
I always was able to tell that the cars were miniatures, but until I watched it in 4K, I'm like, oh my god, there's people in the background.
Wow.
Like, oh my god, they look terrible.
But that's also a product of its time. So like when you go back and you watch it, you're kind of like, look at how they had to do things back
when you
then.
watch like the real version of Star Wars, not the one that Lucas keeps ruining. There's like parts where there's just like painted wood crowds like that are matte shot in.
Can I even find that anymore? Where would I find that? On my VHS?
I can get
Oh.
So Superman is alive.
Yeah.
And he realizes that they're hurting all the people, and he's just like, I gotta draw them away. So he leaves. They foolishly think he's running away, but really he's just trying to get them away from the city.
Idiots. Morons. He's no coward.
So they go to attack Lois Lane again and Luthor, and Luthor's like, oh no.
Yeah.
I can tell you where he lives now. I'll let you know where he lives.
Yeah.
So they show up at the Fortress of Solitude.
All together on each other's backs.
Yeah, all on their backs. And I like that
Love
they're
it.
just like, oh, it's so morbid. Because it's reminding them of Krypton, which is gone.
And then, so this is where when Gene Hackman jumps off the back.
And it's just the back of him like
and he says, what, you guys don't believe in parachutes?
Yeah.
It does not sound like Gene Hackman there. You go back, I mean, it might be. He
And
might have done some ADR, but
doesn't look like Gene Hackman
look
either.
like Gene Hackman either. So.
Yeah, but Superman arrives and Non attacks him, and he throws the cellophane S.
Stop it. Come on. You can't hit me with that right away, all right? Because
I can't hit you with the cellophane S?
No.
Frank, I can't hit you! I don't know why they thought they needed to add a bunch of goofy powers, but then suddenly all the Kryptonians have finger lasers.
Has the cellophane S ever been in anything else?
That's
what I don't know. I didn't look
Family
it up.
Guy.
Okay. Is it?
Yeah. And they're like, what did it do? It's like, well, it didn't really hurt me. It just kind of confused me for a second.
So, like,
you know what? I'm sure the comics had to have done a cellophane as a joke making fun of this movie at some point.
Afterwards. Though.
After.
But I'm saying, like, beforehand, right? So this is where
Superman had a lot of goofy powers early on.
Understood, but this is also where I heard that, Lester wasn't a comic book fan or really
so
knew
he's
the
just
lore or anything.
He's got superpowers.
He's making
He can do
powers.
This, he can do that.
Yeah, but like even the way he grabs it off of his ass and like
yeah.
At that point maybe have his ass disappear, but that's always just been there over.
He has a cellophane S on top of his S that will knock you down.
Sorry, I had to spend a little bit more time on that because that really, I'm still shocked. Okay.
So then they have finger lasers.
Yes, they do, baby.
And then they can teleport now.
Also, he's more powerful.
Yes,
against
than their finger lasers. 3 of their. So then they can teleport.
Yes, they can.
And he can multiply
Yes, he can.
using holograms and a statue that looks like him. And I like it. He goes, I used to play this game in school. I was never very good at it. I'm like, when did you play the multiplying yourself game in school?
We've talked about this. I think on the last one we touched on this, and we were
didn't make
like,
any
"We'll talk
sense.
about it when we get there."
It
Well, we're
didn't
here.
make any sense.
Now we're here.
Yeah, now
baby.
we're here. And that'd be one thing if it was like the Fortress was doing this, but that's never clearly said.
So like that's what I took it as
Yeah.
like, they're in his home base now. He's taking control. That's part of the reason, why he kind of, why he technically brought them there, but Lex was like, I know where he lives. But yeah, so he's got all this AI technology and this and that. So they kind of ran with it. And that's what my headcanon is that, it's helping him. But
But the problem is that they also have goofy powers that make no sense. So then that kind of goes out the window. They were just adding powers for the fun of it.
No, dude, it was the Fortress.
So they hold Lois hostage, and they want to kill Lex Luthor.
Yeah, it's still trying to kill him.
Yeah. And then they want Superman to be his slave. They're like, you'll be my slave forever.
You will kneel before Zod.
You will kneel before Zod.
He said, not in my own house will I kneel for you.
Yes. But then, so they keep threatening Lois, so he has to do it. But I like that he tells Luthor, he's like, look, this chamber can zap their powers. Figure out a way to get him in there. And he goes, don't get in that chamber. It's going to zap your powers. And Superman's like, oh, come on, Luthor.
you poisonous snake.
You poisonous snake.
I love that. I love the delivery of that line and that line being in there.
In the first
so
movie, he calls
good.
him a diseased maniac.
You poisonous snake, Luthor.
So then,
I think that might be my favorite line.
Yeah. So then he puts himself in the chamber to get rid of his powers.
Yeah, willingly goes in.
Little
switcheroo here, baby.
Yeah, he comes out and he kneels before Zod and then breaks his hand.
He said, of course I'm not going to blow you. What do you think I am?
So we learn, Luthor points out, it's like, oh, you reversed it. So you were safe in there and the red light hit them. And for whatever reason, they didn't go, ah, like you did earlier, but whatever. We'll just ignore that.
And then he gives him the good old.
Yeah. But yeah, he throws Zod into the pit. Goes to fly and forgets that he can't, falls into the pit, and then Lois punches Ursa in the pit.
So where did the pit come from? Was the pit always there?
Yeah, there was always just like cliffs and stuff.
Yeah, just saying.
People always bring up when they want to defend Snyder, like, well, Christopher Reeve killed Zod. I'm like, I don't think we're ever meant to believe he killed them. And I know he didn't because it's only shown in like the TV version. But there was a scene shot because you wonder afterwards, like, what did he do with Luthor? Did he leave Luthor there? There is a scene that they play in the TV versions. For whatever reason, it didn't make it into either cuts where the Arctic police show up and arrest like Zod, Ursa, and Nun, and then Luthor, presumably.
I read that. Yeah.
So
they're also like U.S.
Something
like they're
that.
part of the U.S. or whatever it is. And everyone was commenting saying like, no, they wouldn't be U.S. This is stupid. They'd
I
be,
assume
whatever.
that they all like got like frozen down there or something.
I mean, or like, I'll be back for you type of thing. Like, right now you're stuck down there, you can't climb up. I'm gonna go.
I was hoping in like Superman Returns when they went there, they would just like walk past a wall with ice, and all three of them would just be in there.
It was like because it's smoky down there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when Han Solo went into the what's it called? I brought you in with me, but neither of us know. Haha.
The big worm thing that they were in. In Empire
when he gets frozen.
Oh, carbonite. It's
Yes.
carbonite.
Boom.
Sorry, I don't know why.
When he gets frozen in the carbonite, and then they just have hanging up.
That would have been cool.
Yeah,
that would have been cool if Superman just had three
Exactly.
frozen dudes.
It's another reference to Star Wars that we get. Yeah. Why not?
So they decide that they can't be together if he's Superman. Still not really sure why. And I have it here. Just break the rules like the time travel one you did in the last movie. Remember when he was told he wasn't allowed to interfere with human history, and then he just time traveled? Is he out of love?
But like, agreed. Like, I mean, every other iteration, this isn't really an issue, you know. So it's like, why?
I mean, there's
why
always like,
throw
how
that-
do you balance the relationship and being Superman? That is a problem. But like,
Yeah.
they could try it.
But like, if you want to go the story route of, you know, a superhero losing his powers and this and that, I mean, it's been written so many different ways through the years and all the TV shows and movies. So where it's like, that's
One of my
where and it had to escalate that quickly to where it's like, oh, well, this is who I am. Now we're in love. I'm gonna lose my powers. Oh shit, I screwed up. Let me get my powers back.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the end.
I loved in that comic Superman Up and Away, where it's him slowly getting his power after Infinite Crisis when he lost his powers for a year. That's him slowly getting his powers back.
I don't think
that
I
was
read
fun.
after that. Huh.
Because then remember in 52, that year, like it was actually fun seeing Clark like just doing his job and living because he just didn't have superpowers, but he was like still doing cool shit. I'm like, that's interesting. You don't want to see it all the time. Then it's fun to see it as like a little subplot.
Yeah.
But
I gotta read it.
yeah. So then so they go home. She's sad. She can't live without him. Now that she's had him, she can't live without him. Yeah. And then Superman's like, I'll put her mind at ease. And by that, I mean, I'm going to kiss her and erase her mind, which I think actually was one of his dumber powers.
Yeah, but I hope nobody else found out that he was Superman.
Yeah.
He's running around town kissing everybody.
They don't explain how he gets
Hey,
this power.
hey, Perry White, get over here real quick.
Yeah. I don't know. They don't explain how he knows he can do this, how it's possible, where it comes from.
Or like, you know, I maybe have like a shot of him taking something from like the fortress that like, you know, he can, but it's still, it's a very thin line nowadays of like, what is going? Because like you do that in a movie nowadays and it's like, you just drug this girl to make
because
her
now if you factor
forget.
in
Like, you can't do that anymore.
Superman Returns, which you really shouldn't, but like if it really is in continuity, it's like, all right, that's a little shady. She's like, when did I have a super baby?
Exactly, yeah.
Because I assume Superman Returns, they're kind of ignoring that and they're just being like, no, they just hooked up.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and that was it. And she still remembered. But yeah, it's, you know, it's a very it's a different thing. I think just the director Richard Lester, when he came in, like he just deteriorated the character of Lois Lane.
Actually, this ending we'll talk about in this.
Oh no way! Don't you dare say that.
We'll talk about like why this ending's here. The whole spoiler, like the whole ending for this movie was never really figured out before Lester took over.
But did Lester shot this?
Lester shot this. This was made up for this version of the movie.
All right.
But the movie never had a solid ending, and they never got around to fixing that.
Yeah.
Even in the version we're about to cover.
So I mean, just through the whole film, he's like all of the scenes that, you know, are for you know, with Lois Lane from Richard Lester. It's just like I was saying earlier, you know, she's very bitchy, she's very mean, and this and that
she
to
seems
Clark.
just like really like vain,
and then just over the top for Superman, and then you know, and then even has him kind of drug her at the end for her to forget how much that she loves him and how amazing he is.
And now he's like, so he's erased 2 weeks of her life. She's like talking to her friend. She's like, anything new happening? It's like, the fuck are you talking about, Lois?
At least
you were there for it.
At least go Spider-Man No Way Home and like fill in the gaps of like what happened, but she just doesn't know that Clark's Superman.
But then he goes and apologizes to the president. He's like, sorry I wasn't around, but I hadn't been with a lady in a while. And you know how it is. And the president's like, I got you, bud.
Well, you know, while you were here kneeling, I had someone kneeling back at my place.
And then he goes all the way back to Alaska to kick that bully's ass, to be a dick. Oh, sorry, I've been working out.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah, so he kicks the bully's ass.
I mean, a little petty.
This orders to go. I loved it.
A little. Oh, it's funny. I've never seen garbage eat garbage before. Like, I mean, I like it. I know that that's like originally shot and all that, but like, it's a little petty for Superman.
And then the movie ends threatening you that Superman 3 is on its way.
No!
Which at the time, you were probably like, cool.
Yes. 3 years later. Wow. 2 years later.
That's the theatrical cut. we seem to both enjoy it, but realize that it is absolutely ridiculous.
For what it is,
I'll watch it until the day I die. I love this movie, but it is kind of insane. Really goes off the rails at the end there with all the extra powers.
Oh, does it?
And yeah, you're right. This version of Lois sucks.
Yeah,
It's just a super unlikable version of Lois.
Exactly, because like also I just I watched it as it came out, but I just watched Superman and Lois, which might be one of my favorite.
Now that it's done, I need to binge watch.
One of my favorite iterations of Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler Hochik.
Yeah.
I think. Oh God, I'm gonna screw this up because I've been watching for years. I've been watching along with it, but Tyler kills it. Like, absolutely brings in this essence of Clark and Superman and does such a great job. I mean, ever since Christopher Reeve was Superman portrayed
I liked
this
him.
way.
I know he's
I
playing
loved.
a different version of that character. I liked him in Supergirl.
Yeah,
So I was happy he
yeah.
got his own show.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it because I fell off all those shows and I thought it was still connected.
Yeah,
but then you told me it's in its own separate universe.
Own separate thing, and it's
like there's some like I think like Jenna Dewan comes back as Lois's sister and
Yes.
stuff. But other than that, like it's a different Luthor.
Yes.
So yeah, I
Different
actually wanna check it
Luthor,
out.
which the new Luthor
he looks cool. He looks cool.
kills it, dude. Dude from The Walking Dead. Oh God, I know. I haven't
I
ran
don't
through
know his
names in a
name.
while. But then also, oh God, I'm gonna murder her last name. Bitsy Tudyk. Bitsy. Oh God, she plays Lois Lane in.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep, in Superman and Lois. Looks just like.
Yeah. When she showed up the first time in that big crossover, I'm like, she has a
Yeah.
Margot Kidder vibe.
Yeah,
And
looks
she was good as Lois.
like very
Yeah.
extremely similar. Like they casted her very well, but she also brings something fresh and new to it, which I love.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I got into reviewing Superman and Lois.
That's
But,
okay.
yes.
I'm excited to see it.
But yes, I love the film.
But yes, now let's cut to the Donner cut. So Frank,
Tony.
2006 comes around.
Yes, it does.
Superman Returns is on the way.
On the way.
And we finally get the Richard Donner cut. I think it's the first time I heard about it was when this comic book came out. Yeah, own it on November 28th. So this was Action Comics, 844. This was the Last Son story. So Richard Donner came back, did the Richard Donner cut.
Yep.
Superman Returns comes back. It's like a celebration of his work.
Yep. Which the Donner cut is 2005, right?
2000
year before,
No, I'm pretty sure it's 2006.
or is it 6 with
It's
it?
2006,
Came out
yeah.
with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at that time, they had Richard Donner write a comic book story.
Wow.
Yeah, and I have it all here. It was kind of annoying because they took a break in the middle and it took forever for the story to get
Bring it
finished,
back up. Yeah.
which is annoying. Like the whole year, I'm like, what the fuck? They did 3 other stories in the middle. I'm like, what is going on here?
Do they mention it in the other stories that
Yeah, there's
kinda-
it's
like-
pretty funny. So he gets a Kryptonian kid who shows up on Earth.
Yeah.
And then Zod, Ursa, and Nan come. That's where those action figures comes from.
Yep.
So he did a Zod story again.
Okay.
But yeah, then because there was such a break in the story, they're like, oh, and then this was Action Comics. In the Superman comics, he had a whole other adventure over here. And then, when you read the story, you're like, there was no time for that adventure to happen. That doesn't make any
it
sense.
quickly picks right back up.
Yeah.
Well, they probably get. I'd love to know the backstory behind it. I'm sure they.
Yeah. Actually, maybe I'll review this comic for Patreon. Maybe I'll go through it.
I'll read it.
Because it's interesting. They got him to do it. He did it with Jeff Johns, Adam Kubert.
Nice.
And it's a really fun thing. Although I just opened up the picture. They did model. It was supposed to be in the current, that DC continuity, but they made him look like the Superman Returns Superman with the dumb S belt. Anyway. So yeah, this was a big deal. People had known that there was this version. It was very public when it came out. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
Until I saw that this was coming out and I went online, I learned all about it and I was hyped for it.
Now today,
My cousin Monica got me the DVD at the time.
hell yeah. Thanks, Monica.
And I remember watching it and I remember at the time not being super into it.
Really?
But I think it's just because I had so much attachment to the theatrical cut and I miss seeing a lot of the scenes and stuff that I like from that cut.
What scenes do you like that weren't?
I actually don't
That were
mind the
cut out?
Paris opening. I don't
Really?
mind a lot of the comedic stuff with Nan.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm shocked at such a big set piece of Paris.
Yeah.
Because that was shot in Paris.
Yeah.
So, to fly everybody over and and get it done. I mean, to just revamp that whole beginning
Well, like I said,
of the movie.
they had to. They had to
crazy.
change
Yeah.
40% of it or something.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount that they changed that beginning right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Donner cut for me flows a lot smoother.
Yes.
It's not so rambled up and crazy and makes sense.
So I watched it a couple times, and I think my brain just couldn't, because I saw Superman 2 like
Yeah.
a million times,
Mhm.
and it was just so different.
And you're like, this isn't my
And I love,
Superman.
that's the thing, this isn't like Alien 3. Yeah. Go back and watch our Alien 3 reviews. We did one for the theatrical and the assembly cut. Maybe this one should have been 2 episodes. Oops.
Yeah.
No,
No, we can knock
we'll
this
do it all
out.
in one.
We just got another 3 hours, so stick around and hang out, boys and girls.
The good news about this is, like, Alien 3, there was like 40 minutes cut out of that movie, so
Yeah.
it was like a whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, years later, they're doing this. So Warner Brothers, because there were like issues over the film, like who owns what, producers trying to sue everyone.
Yeah.
But Warner Brothers were like, hey, look, assholes, we got a new movie coming back that referenced these films. We're putting out a big box set. We'll take care of it. We'll pay whoever needs to be paid. We just want this goddamn cut out.
Yeah, we're trying to scrub 3 and 4 from everyone's brains. Can someone just please help?
Yeah, so Warner Brothers really wanted this to happen. The editor from the film came back, but he really wanted to do it with Richard Donner.
Yeah.
He wanted his approval on everything.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why Alien 3 is an assembly cut, not a director's cut, because David Fincher wasn't involved with it.
on it.
Even though it was based off a cut that he approved, since he didn't actually overlook the edit, it's not a director's cut. So yeah, Richard Donner didn't want to do it, but the editor, I think, convinced him. Like, he was looking at it, he's like, this is finally my chance to actually do the movie the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some things that that weren't shot, and
Yes,
couldn't,
there were
couldn't go back
some
and put
things that
in.
aren't shot. There's the big scene we'll talk about that's very noticeably test footage.
Which you don't like. Your brain really doesn't pick it up.
Yeah.
Like when you're watching through the film, like I mean, it's in there very. I mean, we'll talk about it, but it's very smooth the way that it's done.
And then they used a little bit of newer effects, but he didn't want to use too much digital effect because there was supposed to be a whole sequence where they took over the world, and the editor's like, "Well, why don't we do it with CGI and stuff?" And he's just like, "No."
Huh.
He's like, I don't want to add too. There is a little bit of digital effects, like the Washington Monument and stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to add too much because then it'll conflict with the old effects.
Yeah.
Which is something George Lucas.
You never
did
go
not
full
know.
George Lucas.
George Lucas
Yeah,
was
yeah.
going full George Lucas. So yeah, they got it out, and
Now, did they spend more money to? I mean, like a significant amount of money to get this, I guess, re-edited and out, or
I don't know.
I mean, the Snyder cut, he still shot scenes, so he still went back, and I think they gave him. Oh God, I want to say
the $20 million,
right?
Yeah,
Not 50, right? $20 million to go back and
I think so.
whatever it was, millions to go back and
I hate when
reshoot
people are
scenes.
just like, man, that would have been great if it was in theaters. Like, that's not the version you would have got in theaters because they had to deliver a 2-hour, exactly a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 hours at the end of the
Yeah.
day, but like I always say, I'll never watch a movie that's shorter than 3 hours and 30 minutes or longer than 6 hours and 25 minutes. So that's just my motto I go with. So, I really enjoyed the Snyder cut. but
yes.
no, I was wondering if they, I wonder how much money I mean, you are promoting Superman Returns, which is a brand new Superman, Brandon Routh, coming into the suit to be a Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wonder.
And I think at this point, Superman Returns had already come out, but it was about to hit home video.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's just get a bunch
Maybe
of them
went
out.
with it. Yeah.
So yes, years later, I go and see Superman in theaters for its 40th anniversary.
Nice.
And I was just like, I got to see it on the big screen. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
And then I went home and I'm like, oh, let me pop in Superman 2. But my DVD was broken. It's scratched. This freaking DVD is scratched. It doesn't play.
Scratch! No.
And I was like, well, I got that Donner
You should sign
cut.
it and give it away.
Should. But I was looking, I'm like, oh, I got the Richard Donner cut. I'm like, well, let me pop that in. It's been a while since I watched it. And years removed after like the hype and everything, I actually ended up really enjoying it. It still has issues. I won't deny that.
Obviously.
And a lot of it is not its own fault. And it made some decisions I don't like. And I wish it kept some things from the other version. But overall, it's really, really good. And we will talk about all the changes. Now, actually, when did you first see this? Is this your first time seeing
The
this?
Donner cut?
Yeah.
So I remember back in 2006 with Superman Returns coming out and saw it in theaters and all that, but I don't think I remember them pushing the Donner cut, but I don't think I ever watched it. Today was the first time I ever watched the Donner cut.
Nice.
And I was actually, and last night I watched the theatrical, so I pretty much went back to back, just had a little sleep in between, and
Same thing. I did the same thing. I watched theatrical yesterday, director's cut today.
I think I would rather have the Donner cut. I go for the Donner cut.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's talk about what's in this cut that's very different.
let's do it, baby.
So it opens up. It replays General Zod's trial.
Yes.
This time, no stormtrooper. And Marlon Brando's back in the cut.
No.
Warner Brothers really did get things in line. They're like, what is Marlon Brando? Yeah, we'll take care of Marlon Brando. We're using a CGI face of him. We'll be fine. We can put Marlon Brando back in this.
I mean, Marlon Brando's scenes through this, it's part of. I mean, some of them
You
are
needed
my
it.
favorite.
After the
ones.
first movie, you needed
Yeah,
it. Switching to his mom in the
great.
second movie was stupid.
There's a interview of Christopher Reeves on Letterman after they shot this, after this came out, and
Wait.
the second one. Sorry,
I was
not
going to
the
say,
Donner
I'm like,
cut.
he was dead by the time this came out.
In the 80s, yeah.
Okay.
In the 80s, he went on Letterman to talk about this, and Letterman turned around and asked him what he thought about Brando. And he came out and just pretty much, said, he's he doesn't care anymore, that he has potential to be a leader for these younger actors and, and be a voice of reason. But he said, on set with him, he's a dick. He's an asshole. He doesn't care. He comes in, he does what he has to do. He gets out of there and, couldn't give two shits.
Wow, Marlon Brando's a dick?
But it's
check out the Island of Dr. Moreau video I did with Movie Dumpster to learn more about how Marlon Brando.
But the honesty coming out of Christopher Reeves was very admirable. I mean, it's very I'm sure I know it's just
I know it's so annoying
when you flow into the next word. You want an S.
I
there.
know.
It feels weird not adding the S.
It's weird that there is another Superman
Reeves.
who had the last name Reeves.
Yes.
That's what makes it so fucking annoying.
Yes, Henry Cavill.
Because then you're just like, wait, is it Reeve or Reeve? Which one was Reeves and which one was Reeve? God damn it!
I know George Reeves.
George Reeves, Christopher Reeve. God. Anyway,
I'm laughing at my own joke over here.
Yeah, so he was a complicated person.
Yes. So
I'm excited to see the Billy Zane biopic on Marlon Brando. I really want to watch that.
Looks great, dude. I mean, he looks just
exactly
like him.
him.
Yeah, kills it.
So yeah, he's in there, and then we get to see a summary of we get to see a little bit of the beginning of the first Superman, and then they just skip to the end of Superman the movie, because in this version, the nuke that Superman threw into space that Luthor launched is what frees the Kryptonians.
So much better.
And also, this is definitely now they have digital compositing, so they look like they're green screen a lot better than they are in the theatrical cut.
It's a lot cleaner. Yeah.
But I feel like the backgrounds are digital and they're just not meshing with me. I'm just like, those look a little too clean and a little too smooth.
Storyline wise, though, for me, it's a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. Why not do that instead of doing this crazy Paris thing? Whatever, he already threw a nuke.
Even though I really like the Paris thing, it is. Right.
Yeah.
But I love
even the way it's cut up of showing the first and all that. It's less and it feels way better.
Yeah, and you also get to see Zod go free.
At first, I was like, "What? What did you just say?"
Yeah. So, then the credits play. We open up. Lois and Jimmy are getting congratulated by Perry for covering the Luthor thing. So this is fresh after Luthor. It has to be because the bomb freed them.
Yeah.
So it's fresh after Luthor getting arrested. Lois is looking at her paper and she draws glasses on Superman. She's staring at Clark. Yeah. And then she's drawing a suit on him. And she's finally, because they say oh, it's a shame Mr. Kent wasn't there. She's like, yeah, he really isn't around when Superman is.
I love it.
And it's weird because she's always around Superman, so she's piecing it together.
Yeah. I one of the best deleted scenes.
Yeah, so she pieces it together pretty early this time.
Yeah, which is kind of fun. I mean, I mean, just all of these types of scenes, it happens. It happens, a little more natural than it does in the theatrical.
And then she mocks him for some of the excuses he comes up with. And then this one, the newlyweds thing gets introduced.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Yeah,
And it makes more sense. Like you get this kind of, idea that pops up.
Yeah,
and
in this version, Lois is all in on the newlywed thing because she wants to spend more time with Clark because she's like onto him. I love when she's just like, the broad shoulders, and as soon as she says that, he goes like this. He drops his shoulder.
Which is, I mean, it's very, as he's Clark through, all these films and all that, like it really shows that he's up there in himself. But yeah, it's cool to see, like, a little bit better.
But yeah, she's like, I'm going to prove you're Superman. And he's like, how are you going to do that? And she just jumps out the window. And he's like, well, fuck, if I'm Superman, she's going to know. So it's very similar to the Rapids
But
scene.
it's way better. It's way better than Niagara Falls, man. I don't know.
It is still a little ridiculous. So he runs all the way down, lasers the awning on the Daily Planet so it comes out.
And slows her down. He slows her down with some wind.
And slows her down with some wind.
Yeah.
She bounces off onto a food cart.
What is that? At least 20 stories up, right? 30
Yes.
stories up. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she's like, I'd be like, seems like Superman did save me today.
Yeah, and I do love that he runs back up. He's like, Lois, are you okay? It's really funny.
And someone's like, hey, have you seen Lois? And she's like,
Oh,
she just stepped out. I like that. I enjoy it. Also, there's a picture of Bill Cosby in Perry White's office.
Was that Bill Cosby? I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, it's like Bill Cosby. What the fuck is going on here?
Yes. So with a very weird look on his face. Sorry, that came out of left field.
So the Luthor scene plays pretty much the same, except that guy says something different.
Yeah, I swear he says something different.
And I think it's in this version where he goes, so-and-so's a bedwetter.
Yep.
And then Otis goes to spread the rumor, but like the guy who's a bedwetter is the guy he's spreading the rumor to. I like that little moment.
I enjoy that. Also, I mean, when you watch, especially watch them back to back, like you can see, just how much prettier and cleaner this version is. I mean, it's 25 years later, for it to come out and clean it up. But
so
it's nice.
This next scene, it's the beginning of the newlyweds thing.
Yeah.
And the bellhop's there and he does the whole, do you want to carry over the threshold thing?
Yeah.
But before they go into the room, it cuts.
Yeah. You don't get your favorite
And I was
part.
like, where's the... I love when he's a dick.
I was shocked when I actually rewound it because I was like, did I miss something?
I was so annoyed by that. I'm like, wait, what? I think that's what made me my first viewing. I kept expecting scenes to happen.
Your dirty bellhop.
Like I thought
I want my dirty bellhop.
I thought I was going to see more scenes, not less scenes.
Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah.
So we get an extended scene of Lex and Teschmacher finding the fortress, and this is actually cool that we get to see Lex Luthor actually interact with Jor-El. That's pretty cool. I mean, he does it later in Superman Returns. But it's cool to see this version of Lex with this version of Jor-El.
Yeah,
talking.
it makes more sense to have Brando in there than the mom, and it's better.
And I love we get more of a backstory.
Yeah.
Every Kryptonian criminal was rehabilitated except these three.
Yeah.
They just weren't able to rehabilitate them.
They were the worst of the worst.
They were the worst of the worst, so they had to go into the Phantom Zone. We have to put them in the Phantom Zone.
So I was thinking, when they finally break out of the Phantom Zone, was there nobody else in the Phantom Zone?
According to this movie, only those three have ever gone into the Phantom Zone.
Gone in. Why have it? But yeah, I get it.
Everyone else was rehabilitated. Also, we do learn that the fortress has a bathroom. And this scene is really funny. I don't know how it didn't make it in the Lester version.
Yeah.
Because he's like talking, because Miss Teschmacher says, like, I need to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And he's talking, he's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, Miss Teschmacher? And then you hear a toilet flush. And I love her line. She's like, I found it. And then she pauses and goes, I think. So she pissed into something. We don't know what it was.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, it's good. Even this whole opening of him, of them finding the fortress, the snowmobile turning into a boat that wasn't in the theatrical one, pulling up into it. There's a few shots of them walking through and walking in.
Like crawling in.
Him sliding and, and or her saying, it's this way. He goes, it's this way. And she goes, no, it's this way. And then he's pissed that she's right and then goes up. And
I don't mind cutting some of that for time. But
I mean, it makes it more cohesive to follow them through.
Yeah.
To just have them appear inside
in
of
the
this
middle
thing.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I need some setup.
This
and,
version of Superman does not have the giant key that you need to pick up.
I was waiting for that when that happened, and it was like, "Where's the door?" Whatever it is. And he doesn't have
Supergirl did the
door.
key, but it wasn't a giant key. I was let down by that. Do you
Yeah.
think the new movie's gonna have a big key?
Maybe, because I mean, it feels very comic booky that we're going here, which I love, and that'd be kind of cool.
I think it needs the big
I think
key.
it'd be kind of
I think it
cool.
needs the big key.
Yeah. Only he can get in, you know what I mean? Until Lex, figures out this huge contraption to put the key up and turn it. Yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, then the movie plays a little normally, minus Lois throwing herself in the rapids. She doesn't do that in this version.
Yes, which I love the window one better.
Although, like, this is now her second clue that he's Superman.
Yeah.
And now I realize why they didn't show the rest of the honeymoon suite. I don't know if that was what Richard Lester shot, but they couldn't have shown it because it wouldn't have matched the audition test footage.
The interiors, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Clark. Really, I didn't mean that. I mean, I'm sure there's thousands of girls.
So there were scenes that just were never shot. And one of them were Lois and Clark, where she's getting dressed and she pulls a gun on Clark.
Yep.
And says, "Oh, I put my life at risk. I had to put your life at risk." And she shoots him, and he reveals that he's Superman. And I love, he's like, "You realize you could have killed Clark Kent."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, they're blanks." And he's like, "Oh, fuck.
Son of a bitch.
He fell for it."
Got me.
But
she's so smart.
I know. So, yeah, it actually makes her more clever. Because she does something really stupid the first time, and this is a little bit more clever.
I mean, you cut out the honeymoon suite, from the original, where she was rude and mean the whole time.
I mean, maybe they were going to film in that room. They just never got to film that scene.
But this test footage, I don't know if it's, hey, they got lucky that they shot, that they used this for test footage, whatever it is, but it makes Lois just seem so much more likable.
Although they do look he is noticeably thinner.
Yeah.
Like he did not start really working out, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he looks great, but yeah. He looks,
and he's noticeably 3 or 4 years younger.
Yes. Yeah. But
and it's not shot very cinematically, but it's not supposed to be because it's just test footage. It was just to see their performance.
Agreed, but if you don't know that and you're watching the film, I feel like it flows. I feel like it doesn't take you out of the film, or you're like, wait, what's going on? Or who are these people?
Yeah,
you're just like, oh, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Which I love.
But yeah, I think it's a way better than him tripping into the fire on purpose. Maybe?
Yeah.
They cut out the goofy powers, but somehow Zod's heat vision still makes the gun levitate toward him.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an.
And
I guess Donner shot that.
Yeah, and then none of Non being funny is in the movie. But I feel like the Non scenes were shot. They feel like they were shot on the same day. Maybe they weren't.
Is he not in there with the stick trying his vision the first time? Is that not in the Donner
I don't think
one?
he does that in this version, and he doesn't grab the light in this version to give to Zod. And I kind of missed that because now they're a little too bland in this version.
Yeah.
I like the little bit of humor with Non in them.
But I mean, it's straight, it's to the point. It shows that they're villains, this and that. I mean, it really is reminiscent of the Snyder thing, to where it's like they brought in Whedon to make it more lighthearted and fun and comedic and and this and that. I mean, it's same kind of situation where Lester came in and made it a little more comedic.
But again, he was forced to.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Because of guild rules, they had to change things.
Yep, I got you. But
there was they probably would have been fine. He probably would have been fine just directing the script as written, but he just legally couldn't.
Huh.
And I mean, I know everyone gives Whedon shit, but literally, if you saw what Snyder wanted to do and you had to shove all that down to 2 hours, including credits, I'd probably make a lot of changes too.
I mean, is it true that it had to be 2 hours?
Yes.
That they were keeping it strictly at 2 hours?
Yes.
Couldn't have gone 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was mandated.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe they would.
Because I think they knew it probably wasn't going to do well, so they wanted it to be able to be played on multiple screens.
It's just, going back and rewatching these things and, and all that, I loved them at their time and really wanted them to finish. Zack Snyder came out with a quote last year on a podcast, and they were asking him about, Batman killing and this and that. And it wasn't, he didn't give the answer that I've backed him for the past, 10, 15 years, whatever it is. He turned around and he said that he had Batman killed something. I'm going to butcher this, but he had Batman killed because he knew that it was wrong to have Batman kill. That he wanted to see a Batman that did kill, even though it was going to piss everyone else off. Which kind of got under my skin a little bit.
Well, then because the problem with that is just like, then why is the Joker fucking alive?
Yeah,
he should just kill all his villains.
Exactly. Then what are we doing here?
Unless that was that would have been a cool story element. They're like, what happened to all the Batman's villains? Oh, he killed them all.
Well, that's why. That's why nobody turns good, because everyone dies. That's bad.
But I would have
loved for Zack Snyder to just finish his vision.
Yeah,
that's it.
I would have liked a little bit of humor in this, and I actually liked some of the humor with the villains, because now they're just a little too
straight.
Yeah,
I
they're very too bland in this cut for me. Again. You're not as attached. You watch both of these. It worked for you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I'm just too nostalgic for two, and I've seen it the most.
Obviously, I'm not a Marvel fanboy, and I like things dark and gritty. Just kidding. I'm kidding. I am a Marvel fanboy.
So, they took out the scenes of the Kryptonians fighting inside the bar.
Yeah,
I like the arm wrestling. It's cool.
I mean, I agree.
And then I like that during all this chaos, they cut to Lois and Clark in bed, assuming they had sex. So he doesn't need to get rid of his powers to have sex in this version. I guess they go more into why he can't have his powers to do this.
Honor and and this.
Yeah,
and
but
that.
like in the other version, it's literally like, oh, I can't have sex if I have my superpowers, so I gotta get rid of them. And I'm like, that makes you look like a fucking asshole, dude.
Like what, dude? Saving millions of lives or having sex? Yeah, it's crazy. Also the guy when the kid comes running over, and he's like, "Can you let my daddy down?" And he drops him. That wasn't in this, and I was kind of upset that
because they got rid of the finger levitating power.
Yeah. But I was kind of upset that wasn't. I was like, oh man.
And so they destroy the Washington Monument instead of Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Also, like a lot of just quick cuts. I mean, I think the runtimes are the same.
It intercuts a little bit more than the other version.
Intercuts, and then like through this whole fight scene in that town, like the car doesn't go up the ramp and through the building. You just see it go, veer off, and then you see it come out the other side or crash into the car on the other side. Like there's a lot of tidbits like that, and then they mash stuff up and all that. Are the runtimes the same? 156 and 156? I think I didn't write that. Hold on. Is it? I Googled it.
One second. It's probably on the back here. Hold on. If it doesn't have a runtime, why do they not? Oh wait, 160 minutes is the donor
160
cut.
Oh,
and then
Superman 2.
Oh, it actually is shorter than the theatrical cut.
Is it right?
The theatrical cut is 127 minutes.
127, 57.
No, 127 minutes.
Oh, 120. I'm thinking an hour.
So yeah, the Donner cut's actually shorter.
2-7. Yeah. Which is kind of I was guess expecting it to be longer.
I would have just put in even if there are from the other cut, they work. This non being funny, it doesn't ruin the movie. It worked. It wasn't like ridiculous. It was just like, oh, it was a fun little moment here and there.
Over the top, like it's fully taking away from the tone that you wanted.
Yeah. So I like Clark is dressed like Clark, and he's having a conversation with his father, and I like that in this version she doesn't have anything more comfortable to slip into. I like that she's wearing the Superman shirt.
Yeah,
just something these ladies be doing. They be wearing our shirts.
Feel that.
Yeah. And I'm like, that is hilarious that she's just watching all this, just wearing the Superman outfit.
Is that what she's wearing out there?
What else would she be wearing?
Yeah, that would be that blue. Yeah, I guess I didn't really look into that. Yeah, no, it's what this scene is so much better.
It's so much better because they're actually arguing a little bit about it. He's like, does your responsibility not give you worth? He's like, it does, but I like her more than that.
It sets Marlon Brando up to be like, told you so.
Yeah.
But
I like that he's just like, look, I really like her. I want to have a life. He's like, you can't have your responsibility. That's the whole point of this is like, you can't have the responsibilities you have and be able to be with her. It'll be too much.
Yeah.
So you have to sacrifice it.
Makes more sense.
Are you sure you know what you're doing? Do you want to do this?
Don't you find your happiness when you saved all those people?
And he says he does, but not as much as when he's with her. And Jor-El should have been like, you just hooked up with her. How about you live with her for a month or two and see if you're compatible before you do this, you asshole.
Try some holding hands and, and hand stuff first.
He really is like jumping the
in.
gun. It's like, hey, buddy, slow down. Can you date for a while? Like,
Dad, I've never been laid. Please. Please, Dad.
Well, in this cut, maybe he's done stuff in the past, but like, yeah, it's like, dude, I know you really like Lois, but you haven't dated her.
Yeah.
Maybe don't get rid of your powers yet.
She's a little bit mean to Clark, but then all of a sudden, once you're Superman, she loves it. It's a little shallow.
It made more sense in the Crisis spinoff on CW when the Smallville Superman gave up his powers.
Yes, it did.
Because he did it when he was about to have kids.
Yes.
He says he got rid of it when he had kids. And in the Smallville universe, there's a bunch of other heroes, so it's like not as big of a deal if he gives up.
But keep his family safe. I love that.
Yeah.
Because when Lex jumps out, and he's like, I gave up my powers. He's like, you did what? It's like
the John Cryer Lex Luthor. I loved John Cryer's Lex Luthor.
I thought that was awesome.
Great.
Yeah, dude, love those.
So yeah,
him dressed as Clark Kent. So that he goes in and then comes back out, still Clark Kent. You don't have to do the switcheroo type of thing.
The weird costume thing was dumb.
Way better.
But yeah, he goes in. He's like, yeah, this is irreversible. If you do this, you will no longer have your powers. So yeah, and they don't do the whole green crystal setup at all.
Nope. She doesn't steal it.
She doesn't steal it
in the wreckage.
So yeah, they blow it up, and then the movie kind of plays out sort of normally. With the guy at the bar and everything. Look, there might be little changes here and there that I missed, but I'm focusing on the big ones.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
He comes back to the fortress. And I love that Jor-El was like, because he does find the green crystal, but it's in the rubble. Like, it just didn't get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings Jor-El back, and Jor-El's like,
I just got a freaking Charlie.
Okay.
Whoa, cramping up, dude.
Ooh, don't bump into the light. Oh, God.
No, I see it. I got it. Wow. I've been leaning on this leg for 2 hours. Whoa, dude. You can leave that in if you want.
Yeah.
Whoa, Frank doesn't stretch.
Wait, hold on. I got you, Frank. Just hang on, hold on.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Dude, I felt it coming, and then I was like, whoa.
Frank, I got you.
Yeah.
You're experiencing human pain because you got rid of all your powers. I got this green crystal here. It'll bring your pain back. How does it feel?
Hold on. Wait. Do you have a flash of light or something that can make it seem like I got my powers back?
Actually, hold on. I might. Yeah, hold on. Here we go. Your leg feel better?
Oh, dude, what pain?
We.
What pain? What pain? Thanks, Pop. Thanks for lying to me. And,
Frank,
giving me a second chance.
Frank, heads up. We gotta stop doing late night shoots. We get a little too wacky with these late night shoots. This and Godfather 2. We get a little too carried away, I'm learning.
Dude, talk about getting old, man. I'm only 33. Whoa, dude. I just been leaning on this muscle for the past 2 hours that out of nowhere I felt it like get real tight. And I looked at you. I gave you this look like, I got this. And then I didn't have this anymore.
That's great. Several times throughout. You might even see me grabbing my head. I have a huge headache that just happened 30 minutes into the episode. And I've been trying to ignore it. And sure enough, we're talking about 2 long-ass movies at once. Why did we think this was a good idea?
We're falling apart.
Send
Send help.
We're almost done.
Superman. Can you hear me?
Superman. Okay. So Jor-El predicted this would happen.
Yeah.
And he's like, I had a feeling that this would happen. And also, those Kryptonians are out. You got to take care of that, buddy.
And also, guess the sex wasn't that good then, buddy.
So he tells him, he lets him know. He's like, hey, look, I can get your powers back. This fortress will be able to restore your powers, but it will come at a cost. All the Kryptonian energy that's keeping that fortress there will be exhausted.
Yeah.
And it will, like, the AI that he's talking to will no longer be able to communicate with him.
That final charge, that final little bit of magic dust.
And they bring up the whole, like, son becomes the father, father becomes the son. Prophecy is fulfilled.
That's the best line in this film.
Yeah.
Son becomes the father.
Yeah.
Father becomes the son.
Yeah.
And he uses his last little bit to charge him
Yes.
like the son.
Yes.
I know you know, but I wanted to say that nice and slow.
But it
'cause
was like a good.
It's awesome.
It was like a good moment, and it's something he had to sacrifice. He had to make a decision. Like, this is it. I'll never be able to talk to my dad again.
Yeah.
So yeah, then the light hits him. The glows. So at least there's like a reason, because then the theatrical
Gives
cut,
a little shake.
theatrical cut, it's like so stupid. It's like you'll never be able to do this again unless you forget to put the crystal in the thing and it survives. And then the crystal can just bring you back. You'll be fine, actually. And it'll do it again in Superman 4. Just a heads up. The crystal will also bring you back in Superman 4.
I mean, the whole thing is to teach him a lesson.
Yeah.
To where it's like, think about your decisions before you make them.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, they're never really on screen. I guess it was like a body double, but it's like the only time we actually get to see them sort of physically interact, Marlon Brando and Christopher Reeve.
It's definitely, like they
shot, reverse shot, because Christopher,
and then just the hand touches him, which is somebody else's hand.
Yeah,
you can tell.
So it's something. It's something. Yeah, it's a good It's like a moment where Jor-El leaves, and you're sad.
Yeah,
because you'll never get to see him again.
Never get to see him again. I mean,
until Superman Returns, I guess. Which I guess can't be in continuity with this version. Although Superman Returns really is its own continuity that kind of borrows things.
Yeah.
But go back and watch our review to know that.
Just a different Earth.
Yeah. So yeah, then the movie plays sort of normally again. The dumb lady with the baby is still there. Okay, so after the fight, one of my favorite moments in the theatrical cut is when Luthor's being a dick to them after the fight. And Zod goes, "Why do you say this to me when you know I will kill you for it?" Hilarious.
Yeah.
They still do the line here, but it's a different take, and it's not as good.
Why do you say this to me when you know I will kill you for it? Why do you say this to me when you know I will kill you for it?
And I'm like, I would have kept that other take. Why did you change that?
Yeah, I guess.
Because he says it's like, why do you say that to me when you know I'll kill you for it? It's like, no, the other version was way funnier.
It's way better. Yeah. And then Jimmy Olsen has a line here too, where he goes, maybe it's when they first bust in, and he goes, he goes, well, you must have been raised by a son of a, and then Lois goes, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And he cuts himself off. Yeah.
That's funny.
Give him a little funny line right there.
So yeah, that line I really missed. That is one of the things that in my head, like my brain is just trained to know that comes next, and when it doesn't come next, I'm like, nah, I don't like it. Don't like it.
You just know it's off. You're like, no.
So yeah, there's the big fight in Metropolis still. That's all pretty much the same.
Cut down.
Minus the wacky people.
Yeah.
The roller skating guy's in it for a second, but
still in it.
Yeah.
I think even the phone booth guy that falls and like
no, there is a phone booth guy, but not the guy who falls and is cracking up. Okay. All that's out.
But they really, it feels like they chop it down a lot and take out, that craziness. It looks better, I guess. I guess they really cleaned this up. They
definitely, because again, they were able to go in and do digital compositing instead of chemical compositing, and they probably just cleaned things up, but not in a way that is stupid. They're not adding dancing, singing aliens or any of that shit.
It's horrible.
They're not putting walkie-talkies in all the cops' hands. They're not doing anything like that.
Shit.
So yeah, when they get to the fortress, there's no goofy fight.
Yeah,
it actually works better because we already had the fight.
It's way better.
Yeah,
it's way.
We don't need multiplying Superman and finger lasers and
straight to
cellophane S's. Although they should have kept the cellophane.
I need to know if it's in any other lore or any other projects or whatever.
So
time. But this is so much cleaner, dude.
It is.
Like you said, you had
a lot
the fight,
smoother. Yeah.
You get there. It's hey, there's three of us, one of you. We won. We got you, lady.
Yeah.
Now what, punk? And he's like, haha.
The chamber. He does the chamber trick. And then he destroys the Fortress of Solitude. I guess because it won't work anymore. So
yeah.
So he destroys
Does he kill them then? Okay, no, because there's a deleted scene.
Well, we know that there's a deleted scene where they get arrested. But in this version, it's like, I guess he just killed Luthor and all them all. We're all just murdered.
I like there's a shot of him and Lois, I guess, before he turns around, right? Or is there one prior to that, looking out into like the open.
I think so,
and
yeah.
having the whole, like we can't do this anymore and this and that, and she's crying. And
Yes, they have a
it's-
conversation about their relationship, how like she
it's
can't
way-
like share him with the whole world and
Yeah,
everything.
It's way better to have there. I mean, right off the bat, and
Yeah.
and clean that up. It's just such
Yeah.
it's such a cleaner.
And it's
cut.
like tragic. And I like when he leaves her apartment after he drops her off. She says up and away.
Yeah.
Which I think is the only time they ever said that in these movies.
I think you're right, but I mean, it's just so because in the theatrical, he just drops her off and then leaves.
Yeah.
Right? There is no words or anything said.
And then, yeah, this ending's rough. Okay, so the original time travel ending was originally meant for this movie.
I know that.
And while they were making the first movie, they decided to do that ending for the first movie.
Yes, because they didn't like what they had, or producers didn't like what they had, or whatever,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Hey, let's just use this and end it."
Use that for the first movie.
Yeah.
So the problem is, like, they wanted to change the ending of this movie, but then Donner gets fired, and they had the kiss erasing ending, which the editor and Donner didn't like.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't shoot anything new, obviously.
Yeah.
So they just decided for this cut to do the time reverse again.
But like you're saying though, they Donner originally wanted the time reverse for the second. Right?
Yes.
So it's like, hey,
But, like-
this is how my movie was supposed to be
But
made, whether he does it in the first or
I
not.
think it's just because they had
Enjoy.
nothing else they could do. Because they
Yeah.
couldn't shoot anything new.
Yeah.
Although they shoot one new thing that was very distracting. So they have Perry White about to brush his teeth.
Yeah.
And time slows down. And then it cuts. And when I first watched this, I went, who the fuck is that? It cuts to just a random woman on a typewriter. And that's supposed to be Lois Lane.
Stop. How did I miss this? Stop.
Yes, but it's not Lois Lane. It's a new actress from 2006.
Get out of town.
They shot her, not a close up, but
Yeah.
it's so obviously not Margot Kidder.
Is it not the back of her head? It's the front of
It's
her?
the front of her head and then her typewriter.
Huh.
And it's so shot on like a different thing. Oh, also, when he picks up the crystal out of the rubble, that I think was the editor's hands.
Yeah, not his.
And I
Huh.
think the crystal was from Superman Returns, like one of the green things.
Yeah.
I think even because I think his sleeves might be up in that shot, and then it cuts and,
And
the
then
sleeves are
extended
down.
down.
So yeah, then so they do the time erasing thing again, and they're obviously using like new footage of cities going with doing time lapses.
Well, yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
oh, he just did that again.
There you go. Stuff added though. Yeah.
It's fine if he does it the one time. The fact that he did it again, it's like, all right, well then you'll always be doing it.
So like I'm okay with it because it was his original vision before even the first one came out. So if you're
Yeah.
gonna go director's cut, then to the best of his ability of what he has with the footage without reshooting something new, he made to what it was originally supposed to be in his eyes. So that's why
And
I
again,
was kind
there
of
was
okay.
nothing he could do. They
Plus
never.
the toothpaste is so smart. It's so well done.
I guess it's because they had just they had filmed some footage. They
Yeah.
filmed the
Yeah,
Perry
yeah.
White stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess they just like they were just in a they were backed into a corner. What else could they do? They couldn't
Yeah.
shoot anything new. They couldn't come up with anything else for it.
Yeah, they said screw it.
So yeah, they just went with that. I think that might have really bothered me the first time I saw it. I'm like, you're just doing that
Probably.
again?
Yeah.
Like that's fucking
I mean,
stupid.
to me, it's better than the "Let me kiss your memory away."
That is also bad. I'm not
Okay.
saying that's not also bad. It's just they're both bad. And then
risky.
and then Clark goes to fight the bully, even though in this version they never had the altercation.
No, yeah, they do.
No, they did, but then he just went back and erased the last 2 weeks with time travel.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that that guy is probably just an asshole all the time.
Is that after he does the time travel?
Yeah. He's probably just an asshole all the time and deserved it. That's probably the thing.
Yeah,
But
and
I
it's
was
just
just like, well, I mean, he didn't really do anything in this version.
Now
to
this
you.
dude's like, wait, why are you coming in and calling me
He's like,
garbage?
Some fucking reporter
Dude, yeah.
from Metropolis just came to the diner and kicked the shit out of me.
Superman is definitely a dick now, dude. A petty dick. The dude doesn't even. The guy has brain damage.
Yeah.
And you're beating him up.
And I do love that, like, Perry and Lois are aware that something has changed. And they're like, something's different. Like, they have memories of
smart.
the previous
They're
timeline.
smart.
And I like that her story is Superman takes the day off.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, dude.
And that is
I love
the
it.
Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. I really like it. The ending is clunky. It's
Yeah,
missing
I can
things
see
from the
that.
theatrical I think should have stayed. But overall, it does flow a lot better. Lois is a lot better in it.
Way better.
The Jor-El scenes are a lot better. I wish I mean, I don't know. There's nothing stopping me. I want to do my fan edit where it's mostly the Donner cut, but then like a few things from the theatrical
Put
cut
your
that I can
pieces
put in.
in.
There.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that there's YouTube cuts out there. I mean, well, they might be off now, but I read some things that fans have taken their favorite parts and what it should be, and made their own cuts.
I just think the little bit of humor with the villains just works better in the theatrical.
Yeah. I could see that, a little bit more enjoyable and not straight and serious and to the point. And,
and it gets rid of the goofy powers, which are goofy.
Gets rid of the goofy powers. One of my favorite parts is when Zod enters the White House, right, into the president's room, and you see the floor. Yeah. And it's our sigil, and it's the bald eagle.
Oh yeah,
and he says, I see that I see that I'm going to butcher it again. I see that you honor things that fly.
Yeah, worship things that fly.
You worship things that fly, and I mean technically, this past week I worship things that fly.
At the time of this filming, yes.
So go birds, baby, go. Fucking birds.
This comes out in like March. We're all over it. Okay?
Oh yeah, dude, it's still a thing.
Which, by the way, okay,
whenever this drops, go birds, baby.
As someone who was flying the entire time that was happening,
I know, dude. I was like, when you told me that the week before, I was like, "Are you nuts?"
Yeah. So when I was flying to Tulsa from LA, the Super Bowl was happening, and I was fine with people cheering. Yeah. Like we had a Philly crew on the plane, so they're like, our Philadelphia crew was gradually, I'm like, that's fine, it's fine.
There you go.
But then like 3 days go by, and I'm getting on the plane from Tulsa to Philly, and there's still people in Philly's gear, but then like this one girl just kept saying "Go Birds" randomly. I'm like,
"Go Birds."
I'm like, it's Wednesday afternoon. What the fuck are you doing? What?
Hey,
G. No. E.
L.
What was it? No.
E.
It's
S.
Eagles. L. G. S. E. S. Elgses.
I had a lot of faith in that woman.
I have that shirt. My sister made me the shirt that was Elgses. I wore that the night of the Super Bowl.
You're a dick, dude. I mean, that whole week was a party. You know what I mean? I mean, all the way up until the parade on Friday.
I was fine. It was just annoying being on a plane in Tulsa, hearing some girl scream "Go Birds" randomly, and I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck are you doing? What are we doing here?
I mean, it's a Philly thing, dude.
I get it, but it's like no wonder people think we're annoying.
I do that shit year round, man. You see me anywhere, man. You see me in Florida, you see me in Texas, you see me out in LA in the middle of July. I'm screaming "Go Birds."
It's fine. It's fine.
Was that aggressive? That was aggressive.
I was mad because I tolerated so much. I'm like, oh, they're all happy and everything. Like, I don't really care, but I'm like, they're happy. But then the girl didn't on a Wednesday afternoon when it's not even happening anymore. I'm like, all right, shut up, lady.
It's all right, dude.
And it didn't help that I watched a movie called Afraid.
Oh, yeah?
Afraid, but spelled with a capital AI in the middle. That movie's fucking awful. I might do a Patreon video on Afraid. It's the only movie I've ever watched on a plane. I usually can't watch movies on a plane because I get motion sickness, but I guess I took the right amount of Dramamine. Yeah. So I was like, oh, a little spooky AI movie. Let me put that on. And I was all like, no, fuck this.
Nope, not happening.
I should have watched Megalopolis again. God damn it.
Should have. Next time someone screams "Go Birds," you should just figure out your own thing. Like, the Donner cut was way better! Instead of, just have your own little kind of chant or scream or something to...
Eyeful of Liberty! I'm just going to scream, Eyeful of Liberty!
The Eyeful of Liberty was in Superman 2!
Shut up, you idiot! Can't believe I was saying. Anyway, Frank, that was Superman 2, both cuts. I think we both agreed the Donner cut's probably better. They're both enjoyable, though.
Yes.
It'll never be a perfect movie, but it's a fun, goofy movie.
It's interesting to see how much, how many differences are through them both and all that.
Then,
so I never knew. I never really knew.
Donner came back and did another Zod story in comic book form.
I got to read it.
I think I will review this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a really great time with it. I always love revisiting these movies. I love that I have this 4K set now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because Frank, we got to catch up. We got to get to Man of Steel before the 2025 movie comes out.
We got to get going, man. And I am super excited for July 11th. Super excited for July 11th. My birthday's July 16th.
Yeah.
My son's birthday is July 15th. Wow. So it is going to be a super week.
So you're going to take him to the theater and ruin everyone's viewing experience.
He's going to be one, dude. I can't. But you know what? In like 3 months when it's out, it's on repeat.
I don't know.
The
twins are like super into dinosaurs, so I think that month I might take them to the new Jurassic. They'll have no idea what's going on.
There's a dinosaur-looking monster in Superman.
No, we can't do any more giant. I got him too hooked on Godzilla. It's gotten.
Yeah.
They call me to show the toys to them.
That's awesome.
Did you watch the new Godzilla X Caan?
I'm gonna agree to disagree.
Well, there's a new big white lizard
I
that
haven't.
shoots ice, right?
Yeah.
It's called Shimo.
A white lizard.
They've decided on their 500th viewing of that movie that is their favorite thing in the world now.
Nice. That's awesome, dude. I mean, that's cool. Like,
so whenever they
you
call
got them
me,
into that.
whenever they FaceTime me, they just start going Shimo, and I'm like, I guess I'll grab the Shimo figure for you, girl. Here you go.
I mean, that's cool.
They love
Good for them.
dinosaurs. They got so into dinosaurs.
Yeah. Oh god. When you learn about dinosaurs, like 3rd grade, they're gonna be hyped again.
I might show them Super Pets. I showed them when they were like real young, but that was before they were really paying attention to movies. I might show them the Super Pet with Crypto the dog.
Yeah, I just watched that a couple weeks ago. So
It's fun. It's a fine movie.
The like Rock Kevin Hart thing, is kind of dying out by this point, but like it's still a really fun watch.
Out of
I
all
had
the
a blast.
movies with The Rock as a DC character, it's the best one compared to Black Adam.
What? Who?
Black Adam.
Was that a thing?
That was the thing. We have a statue of it over there that some fan donated for no reason. I don't know why they thought I needed a
because they didn't
12-inch Rock Black Adam statue.
They were like,
Frank,
you know who needs this?
Frank, if you want that for your shelf at home, feel free to take.
No way! Wow. I'm redoing my basement soon, so I'm actually gonna I might put a little studio down there and
nice,
and start doing a little thing. So we'll see within the next couple months.
Well, I'll hold it for now.
yeah, hold it for now. Yeah,
you know what's funny?
Totally.
I was like, next time I review a movie with The Rock, I'll put it on set. I haven't reviewed a single Rock movie.
Oh well, watch The Rock and put him.
I'll watch The Rock. Oh, I thought I had a copy of it. I think I do.
And put him. Oh, that's good.
That was Con Air, yeah.
Shit.
Anyway, Superman 2. I'm glad we came back to Superman.
Yes.
Again, check out our Superman 1 and Superman Returns review.
Here we go, baby. We're ramping up.
I did, on our live wrap-ups, I did do the League of Super Pets.
Cool.
And we talked about, like, the first few episodes of my adventures with Superman, which the first season of that was really good.
Awesome.
I got to watch the second season.
Second season, I think they upped their game a little bit.
Yep.
It's
And
great.
We've talked about some other super stuff. We did The Flash, which had a Supergirl in it. Yeah. I guess next year we'll do Supergirl. Yep. The original Supergirl.
Yep. That's what I know. I saw that when I was cruising through Max. I was like, oh shit, we could do Supergirl.
We can do Super. I was going to save that. I'm like, I mean, not put it in for this one.
No, yeah, save it.
But yeah, we'll keep doing the Supermans. I guess we'll start getting into the Snyderverse stuff.
So do we just do Man of Steel because Batman vs. Superman's technically not a Superman
Yeah, we're just going to focus on the solo
right.
Superman movies.
So just Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And no Snyder cut, I guess. For all you Snyder fans out there,
I did do the Snyder cut when it came out initially,
right? Yeah.
But maybe we can do West versus Snyder, like we just did with this one. How about that?
Maybe.
Because I've only watched it once since my initial. I was actually really positive in my initial review.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again, and I went, eh. So I think maybe on a third viewing, maybe I'll be like, you know what? Maybe I was just like, well, at least it's not that bad.
I watched it twice, and then I've rewatched like the Dark Side scenes, and and then the Apocalypse one at the end and all that just for fun. But it's you gotta take a little bit of time to watch through that.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that.
Maybe.
But yes, that is it from us, Frank. This comes out like late March. What do you got going on? Is there anything going on?
Tony, I'm here with you, baby. I haven't left. When this comes out, I've been in this basement. Please help. Somebody send help.
Any new movies on the way?
So you can currently watch Sacrum Vindicti 2 right now. I think it just came out on the Tubi, so it's actually free if you want to watch my face and a couple scenes.
Of course.
And then right now it's back to the rebuilding phase, baby. A lot of auditions and all that. I got stuff coming out later in the year. If you follow me on Instagram, Frank_Volpe_, then you can stay up to date with all my fun projects.
And we can see you as two separate background characters in Last Known Location, which we covered on a wrap-up. And I went, why did Frank really want me to cover this local indie movie? And I saw him in the background. I went, motherfucker.
Stop it. I know, dude. I had like 102 fever.
Oh, yeah, you were supposed to call in.
Supposed to be on the wrap-up show,
Beg
dude.
me to review that movie.
I know. And I was like, I felt so bad. But yes. go out and watch Last Known Location on Amazon
good.
Prime.
I enjoyed it.
It got
We
up
all enjoyed it,
to,
actually.
I think it got up to top 6 on Prime before
in the U.S. Yeah.
Yep, in the U.S. So it's out there, baby, and it's doing very well.
Yes.
A lot of good friends from Philly shot it, and you can spot me in the background.
A couple times.
I went out and helped and gave a hand. And
I told them, the
had some
director,
fun.
I was like, you put me in the next one. The background guy.
Next to me.
And I'll wear my I'll wear my handkerchief from the Dark Knight Rises.
And we'll both have the back of our heads to the camera.
It's got to be the back of your head.
Who is he? Where is
but then I'm further back out of focus.
No. No, we'll just switch. It'll be the back of my head, your face, and then when the character goes by, then we'll switch real quick. And then someone will be like, wait, did they just, wasn't the back of his head just, no. What?
Oh, also, people have been asking.
Yeah.
We didn't get to do it last year. Because I really wanted to, because that guy has the Batmobile and I wanted to do it with the Batmobile.
Yes.
This year, I'll try my best to get the Batmobile.
Come on.
With or without the Batmobile.
TV show Cars, right?
We are going to do the Christopher Nolan Batmans, or at least start them because it'll be the 20th anniversary of Batman Begins.
That's right, dude. 2005.
We're getting older.
Whoa.
So yes, because people were upset we didn't do it last year, but I really wanted to get that Batmobile.
Wow.
But now we don't have a choice. Batmobile or no Batmobile,
Yeah.
we will be doing the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, or at least starting it this year.
20th anniversary. I mean, we're going to start with the best one.
No. Okay. No. Anyway, that is it from us. Goodbye.
It's the best one. Sayonara.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.